Sarah, what have you done?
Kerrigan, the die you cast. This is the last day. Your swarm darkens the sky of any planet.
Forget Minsk. Forget all of it.
When we are done here, I will return to my people and accept their judgment.
Command, we've found Kerrigan. She's holed up in a Zerg base.
I made my peace long ago.
Consider it done. For hire. Indeed.
All right, guys, we're live. What is up?
What is up? Welcome back, everybody, to FSL Season 5. I'm Seth, joined here by our awesome caster, E.T. How are you doing, E.T.?
Doing great. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm excited for the matches we have tonight. We have, it's a debut by these two new players, Chumlee and Rex. I have never seen them play. I don't know how they play, but I probably have seen them play. Where do they stand in terms of, because they're not playing one-on-one, but from what you've seen, what are your impressions about these two players?
Yeah, so they're doing quite well. They've been improving a lot. They actually kind of got back into practicing StarCraft just for this tournament, which is cool to see a little resurgence. But they've been improving rapidly. So I'm excited to see how they fare.
Yep, and we're also gonna see Instability facing against Sir Malignant. That's gonna be an exciting game. And our third game will be Criminal and Deepu. But the first game is gonna be the Blind leading the Death. The two new players we're gonna be seeing that we're talking about facing off against KJ Freedom and Little Reaper. The Little Dom team. The vetoes are done. Players are actually in the lobby. And I'm excited. So you know what? Let's interview these players. I'm going to bring them up so we can chat with them before we start. And joining us now are our players for tonight, the Little Dom and the Blind leading the Deaf. Welcome. First of all, I want to welcome the Blind leading the Deaf, Chumlee and Rex. Welcome. Glad you guys joined us for FSL Season 5. How are you guys doing?
Good. Yeah, doing pretty well. very excited.
My first question is, can you tell us a little bit about the name and why you guys chose the Blind leading the Deaf? Who's blind and who's deaf?
Oh yes, that's very easy actually. That's Chumlee is the blind and I am the deaf. And this is literally true in real life. So that was the reason.
Gotcha.
Name.
I see. And you guys have been practicing, I guess, to prepare for this tournament. Where do you guys think your form is, and how comfortable are you playing in this league?
I guess we'll find out. I hope it goes okay. We've definitely put in a good number of practice games against the all-powerful AI, so we'll see how it goes.
I'm nervous because I'm a longtime fan of Little Reaper, and I've always followed his career. So I feel like I'm meeting a hero tonight.
Big expectations.
Yes, that's right.
E.T., I'm sure you have much better questions than I do. You have any questions here for the Blind leading the Deaf?
I tell you what, it's actually really hard for me to come up with questions to the people I know because I have very bad restraint, so I usually wind up asking them beforehand. But yeah, so have you? Obviously, you have the slight advantage of having watched these players play. Do you have anything in particular prepped for them, as specifically against them, or even more just general prep?
I would say it's more general prep. We just we have a couple of builds that we thought would be cool, and we were going to do those regardless of the opponent. We may regret that.
Yeah, I think tonight is just kind of finding our footing, and then we'll go from there, or not go from there. We'll see.
All right,
Right.
awesome.
All right, well, they're going to be facing off against Little Dom, who unfortunately dropped their first match last week against GG Izzy. So they're 0-1, but they have the young one, the Little Reaper, and also he's not playing. Well, I don't know if he's going to be playing Zerg, but we also have KJ Freedom. How are you both doing? Let's start with Little Reaper. Little Reaper, I know you're already in your pajamas, ready to go to sleep right after this, but are you ready for tonight? And what do you think your chances are in terms of if you're gonna win or lose tonight?
I think I would say it's half and half, but I've never seen them play, so let's see.
We'll see. And KJ Freedom, you haven't joined our lobby yet, but what race are you gonna be playing tonight? Because I know last week you started off with Zerg and finished with Terran. Timeout. Dear Terran, okay. So it looks like his audio is not, but he's gonna be playing Terran, maybe Protoss. I see a P there. But I think we're ready to go. Any questions, ET, before we start?
Well, I'm not very good with sign language, so I'll probably have to skip this time around. But good luck to everyone. I'm looking forward to this.
It's Terran.
Great. All right. So the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna have our players join their respective lobbies, so you guys can communicate with each other. Just keep your videos on, so we have your player cams. And good luck and have fun. We'll talk to you guys after the match.
Sounds good.
All right. So let's move them down. There you go.
You are watching FSL Season 5. Chong. Rex. The blind leading the deaf.
Game paused.
Our crutch, our strength, is playing tonight, so we're having to figure out how to do everything he normally does. So we'll have to go ahead and get that fixed up, and then we'll be ready to go. Looks like the game is up now. I'm hearing no sound from chat, but that might be fixed already. I'm not sure. All right. I mean, what would an FSL night of games be without a rocky start? Let's be honest.
Game
But here
resumed.
we go. We'll go ahead and introduce our yellow Terran player, I suppose. He is...
KJ, you may take our lives, but you'll never take our freedom.
And I guess we should probably just redo the intros. So his ally, the Teal Protoss, the little man, he is...
Little Reaper.
And together, they are...
Little Dumb.
Their opponents in the bottom right, in the purple, the Zerg player, she is...
Rex.
And her ally in the green, the Terran player, he is...
Chum.
All right. Chumley sending his SCV scout across the map. We've got a very quick shield battery out of Little Reaper, so playing it kind of safe. Obviously, as was mentioned, they really aren't sure what to expect out of their opponents. That's the advantage of it being the blind leading the Def's very first match, is they're a bit of an enigma. So we'll see if they manage to play that to their advantage. KJ Freedom is expanding. He is Terran, which I think, if I remember right from his Twitter, is his worst race in his opinion, or at least his least favorite race, the one he has the hardest time with. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously still very strong, but we shall see. Going for, it looks like some T is mid diamond. There you go. So yeah, probably his lowest, I think. I've found, at least in my personal experience and some other grandmasters I know of, that generally if you're a Zerg player, your second best race is going to be Protoss. That's just how it is. I don't make the rules. But anyways, Little Reaper going for Twilight Council and Robotics Facility. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we've got, let's see, it looks like a bit of a 2-1-1 coming out for Chumley, and Rex getting that quick third base up, pumping out those drones, getting Zergling speed. Freedom, I think, is going for... Oh, it looks like they might go for a bit of an early push. They're making charge. They're making tanks. Getting that quick starport up as well. They are expanding, but it looks like it's going to be a bit of a heated attack out of them at this point. Everybody's sort of just macroing up at this point, obviously. Oh, and a Dark Shrine. So it's going to be charge lots and Dark Templar. That's a lot of commitment this early on into the game, so it's going to be hard to actually make enough units to leverage that, but we'll see if he manages. Meanwhile, Chumley is pumping out those Marines, getting that stim pack up as well. Looks like he's about to flip over his starport and start making some medevacs, although he's a little low on money to do so. And Rex charging up in that worker count right now, but going across the map is something from Little Reaper. I'm not... Oh, never mind. It's just an SCV. It's like, that's a really early Warp Prism, if so. No, it's not quite a Warp Prism just yet. Warp Prism is on the way, though. Charge is going to be finishing up soon, and KJ's got a couple of tanks out at this point. So a big attack gearing up, potentially. Could be for defense as well, but the additional gateways going down for Little Reaper and whatnot does seem to indicate some amount of aggression. Although it might be that KJ just plays defensive at home, while Little Reaper does move out to his own natural base. I think just wanting to avoid that overlord that is outside his base, so he's taking a bit of a conservative path with it. And going to go all the way around the edges of the map. That may give his opponents enough time to get up forces to defend it, though, so we'll see how that winds up working out. Roach Warren and Evolution Chamber is down for Rex, who is still on 3 bases. No fourth in sight just yet. And Chumley adding on additional engineering bays to get +1/+1 upgrades going. It looks like he did a little bit of a marine drop across the map, but I'm not sure if it really got anything done. It looks like nothing, in fact, as the medevacs, or maybe that's, nope, that's still the SCV and the probe. You know what? I'm going to stop trying to read the mini-map, I guess. I'm not very good at this. As it looks like Chumley opted not to go for the medevac drop, just staying safe and staying at home. Not taking a third base, getting 1-1 in combat shields up. And it looks like producing some tanks now. all players playing relatively passively. Rex hitting a bit of a supply block and making 12 overlords to deal with it. She is never going to be supply blocked again, but the charge lots are in her base, and she doesn't have any roaches because of that supply block. 8 roaches now being made, but Dark Templar being warped in. Heading down towards the expansions of the blind and the deaf, and in this case they really are blind. No detection at all available, no idea that these DTs are coming in, it looks like, and the DTs splitting off to each base. I mean, our players in the bottom right are just getting ravaged by this drop from Little Reaper. It took a while to get here, but when it did, man oh man did it go to work. SCVs falling left, right, and center for Chumley. Rex, it looks like, will be able to stabilize with her roaches, but Chumley loses almost every SCV in his main base. That's 24 SCVs lost and 14 drones. A major loss for our players here in the bottom right. Rex, however, still at a very healthy supply count. Pretty crazy, actually, just how much supply she's managed to accrue there. Oh, does scan and get a DT, but there's still 2 DTs hiding in the corner of his main base. And yeah, I mean, a pretty solid attack overall. Chumley definitely taking the brunt end of that. However, Little Reaper's macro behind this has not been the best. He's floating a lot of minerals and doesn't have that many workers himself. So even with all of that damage, it's looking a little scary as there's a big army out for Rex. However, it is mostly roaches, and with the healthy tank count of 4 from KJ Freedom and a good spread with bunkers in the front, it's going to be hard to break that with just Roach Ravager. Does look like the blind and the deaf are getting ready to move out across the map, but now the DTs are going back into the main base of Chumley. Some roaches splitting off up to the right. I'm not sure if that's just a pathing thing. It is just a pathing thing, it looks like. They're going to meet up. The sensor tower is going to warn our players in the top left of this attack, and I mean, that tank spread is massive. Ravagers are coming in, so Biles may be able to help deal with that. Definitely going to be able to help if she can land those Biles before the Marines rip through those Ravagers. Obviously, Marines quite good against Ravagers, especially if they're front. Queens, though, are moving in. Those can be good for tanking, and this is going to be a massive assault. 1 Bile goes down. Loading up and flying into the main base is Chumley, saying, you know what, if you can't go through it, go around it, and go around it he does. Going for that Dark Shrine. He's like, you know what? I've had about enough of these DTs, man. However, the counterattacks on the other side of the map are dealing massive amounts of damage to the blind and the deaf. Their army getting destroyed by tanks, but Little Reaper's base is falling, which means this is going to go to a very weird place. This game is about to get weird, folks. I think the advantage is definitely to Freedom and Little Reaper, but it's not looking too bad. It's not looking irrecoverable, at least. Oh, Freedom trying to move in, but I don't think he has enough troops to win this fight, and if he loses this, this is all the protection for his units down on the lower side of his base. A couple of the tanks desieging and moving up to try and push those back now, but they can just run away, and that was a big loss for Freedom. A lot of units going down. Oh, and ooh, I feel like Chumley could have gone in on that, but opts not to, is instead going to pick up and maybe go to the natural base of Little Reaper, try to get him completely removed from the game, which I think is the right choice. They really need to stabilize at home, though, as these DTs are just ripping through absolutely everything. Slowly stabilizing, but Chumley, I mean, not looking too hot. He's going to drop over into KJ's natural, or third base, I guess I should call it at this point, though, which is good. He's getting a lot of damage done with these drops. Whenever you don't have any macro to do at home, you can micro pretty well, it seems like. And indeed, managing to kill some SCVs, dragging KJ Freedom back and forth all over the place. It looks like Rex possibly trying to set up a surround at the front to come in from 2 angles with her army. We'll see if that... Oh, never mind. It's just the Queens on one side and the Roaches getting left behind on the other, I think. A crazy game thus far. Chumley, I mean, pretty much down and out. He's got just this little force. And then after that, that's all she wrote. Little Reaper doing a great job on the counterattacks on the other side of the map. Chumley not managing to capitalize and close out that player. And that may be what ends the game for them. I do like this, though. It looks like Chumley's just going to come back and try and defend the base while Rex continues to put on pressure, and I think that's what needs to happen. Freedom, though, skyrocketing in the supply as he's been relatively untouched in terms of his economy at this point. Looks like they're going to go home completely, leaving just 5 queens chilling like villains. And Little Reaper continuing to warp in on the other side of the map. The only issue with this is that if this does get cleaned up, that's pretty much his entire army, and he's only got a little bit of economy left behind this. So he'll be in a very crippled state if Chumley and Rex can manage to clean this up. And they are indeed looking to clean it up, although they're not going in together. I really would have liked to see that. However, Little Reaper's army is in a couple different pieces, is now joining together. I think Rex actually should have dove there on that little group of Zealots rather than allowing the group up, the clump up of the Zealots. It's going to make things a lot harder now. Trying to just kite back and forth as Little Reaper continues to warp in. He does have that bank, so even with no economy, he's able to continue warp-ins for a little while here. But this game is definitely in a weird state as Freedom moving out and cleaning up those queens that were left on the other side of the map. That's very unfortunate. That would have been a lot of tanking on a defense for the blind leading the deaf. And yeah, at this point, it looks like Little Reaper and Freedom are really gearing up for some strong moves. For the moment, though, Little Reaper just warping in the main base of Rex, which is now barren of any Zerg essence whatsoever. And, yeah, I mean, just kind of waiting, biding his time. Rex and Chumley are slowly rebuilding. Chumley has a lot of his infrastructure left, so if he can get up a healthy economy, which is going to be very difficult to do with only 4 workers, he does have a lot of production available. But I'm not sure that Freedom and Little Reaper are going to let them get to that point. 2 Archons do get taken out, though, by Chumley, and some of the army taken out by Rex. Those Archons were the big, chunky units in Little Reaper's army, and they're gone now. I feel like Chumley needs to make just a couple medevacs to make his army have a lot more staying power, but perhaps down the line. He does have enough gas to do so, but, you know, it's hard in these situations. This is where the experience of time really helps one team or the other. If they're more used to being in weird scenarios like this, they're generally going to know what to do and keep their cool. Whereas a team that has not been in this situation as much is going to have a harder time navigating this complex scenario. However, Little Reaper is losing a lot of his stuff, but it doesn't matter. Freedom sweeps in. Man, oh man. Well played out of Littledom. Looking quite strong there. And I mean, I would say a pretty solid game out of Chumley and Rex. Puppet Master or Rex's army value there for a while looked very strong, but they just got torn apart at home, and that's that harassment coming in. All right, we are getting into the lobby for game number 2. And getting our players in here. All right. Looks like we have everyone here, and we're going to be hopping into Reclamation LE for game number 2. Will Littledom be able to close it out, or will the blind and the deaf find their way? We shall see. Alrighty. Here we go. Here we go. In the upper left-hand side of Reclamation LE, it is our green Terran player. He is
Chun-Li.
And his ally, the red Zerg, looking pretty decent in that previous game. She is
Rex.
And together they are
The blind leading the deaf.
their opponents in the lower right-hand side. Our yellow Terran looking very strong. He is
KJ, you may take our lives, but you'll never take our freedom.
And his ally with those DTs, he is
Little Reaper.
Their team is known as
Little Dumb.
Alrighty, we're starting off. Little Reaper's coming across the map, but no forge on the way, so nothing suspicious going on. Just scouting, I believe. Looks like fairly standard openings all around. Nothing too suspicious whatsoever. Chumley's moving down to take that expansion. Reaper's on the way. Orbital coming down. Got Cybernetics Core and an expansion from Little Reaper. We'll see if he goes for those DTs again. They obviously did work in the previous game, but at the same time, you might expect your opponents to be a little more prepped for them this time around. Although, I think Little Reaper might have forgotten his second gas. Not the end of the world, however. But if he is planning on going for DTs, it's a little bit difficult without, without a second gas at the least. But we'll see what he goes for. He is dropping a second gateway. Let's see what his tech building of choice is. Dropping another pylon, and we should see a tech building here shortly. Just making warp gate, it looks like, in a stalker, though. All right. Command center coming down. One base, though, for Freedom at the moment, but it looks like he is going to expand. I think Freedom just plays very safely, and Little Reaper tries to get the damage done. Appears to be their strategy, at least in this game, and it definitely was in the previous game, so we'll see if he continues that. But you can see with that bunker placed very conservatively before he's even started his command center, will be very safe against anything that comes his way. Looks like 2-1-1 out of Chumley once again. Now, in the previous game, he forgot his second medevac, so he wasn't actually able to do his double drop, which might have made a pretty significant difference, as Little Reaper had almost no defense at home because of the DTs. So who knows what might have happened with that. So we'll see if he makes 2 instead of 1 medevacs this time. Although who knows, it might have been intentional. I can't say. Can't say for sure. Factory is going down, though. Rex taking her third base and getting a lair up. Reaper's coming back across the map, and we do have a robotics facility coming out for Little Reaper. He's going up to 5 gateways, which is an I'm going to attack you sort of amount of gateways, but it might not mean that at the same time. Does have a robo, though. 5-gate robo, I believe, is a 2-base all-in that is done, but I don't see KJ gearing up to all-in, so I don't think it's going to be that. Just because it would be a little weird for one player to go all-in and the other to not do anything. That's a little unusual, but it might be a pressure build. We'll see exactly what Little Reaper's planning there. Warp Prism is coming out, as Chumley is making those Marins, getting that stem on the way. A lot of drones coming out for Rex at this point. Getting those queens out. Lairs nearly finished up. No sign of any sort of tech buildings, though, like an evolution chamber or roach warren or anything along those lines. So perhaps forgotten, perhaps not supposed to be made yet. Who can say for sure? Very quick lair, though. Very quick lair for sure. Meanwhile, Chumley hitting a slight supply block. 3 supply depots on the way, and a couple SCVs just kind of chilling around. And oh goodness, it's a bad supply block. The medevacs would normally be on the way already, but instead, well, they're not. I guess those are the 2 options, really. Now they are starting up, but they're going to be a little bit late. A lot of Zealots moving out. 1 Immortal in that Warp Prism. just slow Zealot Immortal. So it looks like it is going to be a pressure build, but a pressure build that could do a lot of damage. There should be a bunch of Stim Marines and 2 Medivacs out, but they might move out just before the attack gets across the map, so they may not be there to defend. And it is going over to Rex's third base, who has zilch to defend. Just some Queens and a couple Zerglings. Roachwarren just now on the way. And it looks like we're going to see some additional sentries or zealots being warped in right here. I'd like to see a couple sentries. Just force fields are so helpful this early on in the game before Ravagers are really out. And he does have the gas for it, but we'll see exactly what he opts for. Double drop is moving out across the map, so it looks like we could just have big damage on both sides of the map. Little Reaper taketh and Little Reaper giveth away might be the story of this game. We'll see. There's a lot of Queens here, but that's just not enough against this amount of Zealots. Zealots so good against Queens as well, just ripping through everything. The Queens are trying to run, but they're going to run off of creep, and things get kind of ugly at that point. Drones are fleeing as well. Chumley is going into the main base of Little Reaper, though. It looks like there might be something there to defend that drop. It's a missile turret. Doesn't manage to kill the Medivacs while there's still units inside, and Hellions not the greatest against the Marines. Uh-oh, I don't think... Yeah, there's almost nothing to defend at home for Littledom. Oh, he almost killed that Medivac. Barely does not. Does kill the tank, though. And a decent attack overall. Kills quite a few. Ooh, loses both Medivacs, but gets a good amount of damage done. Meanwhile, the third base of Rex does fall. She has Roaches out now. And +1 Roach speed on the way. There's some Queens. I think this is a hold here. Little Reaper really needs to pull back. I don't think it's worth it to go in here because he might kill some stuff, but he's going to lose his whole army. And he can't really afford to do that. These are slow Zealots, which are so much worse than charged Zealots. Once Roaches are out, it's not even funny. And just like I was saying, yes, he kills some Queens. Yes, he gets some damage done, but he's going to lose almost everything. Oh, if he loses that Prism, that could be really bad. Not... Oh, man, if Chumley was paying attention, that Prism would have gone down, but unfortunately probably looked away to macro. It happens. Not the biggest deal. However, Little Reaper only on 20 workers, Freedom only on 35. Big supply leads for both players, Chumley in particular. And I think if they just go for a quick assault, there are some tanks out, but they're not sieged up. Mech is strong, though. Mech is strong, but Mech is not in position to defend Little Reaper. So a lot of damage could go down. Looks like not going to opt for that, though. Prism is going out across the map. Still no anything really tech-wise out of Little Reaper. No Twilight Council, no upgrades. Really needs to get something going there, but I guess at the moment it's more important to just focus on getting your economy back up. I do forget that he did, of course, take a lot of damage to that drop, lost his entire main mineral line. A lot of Hellions coming across the map, though, but a big drop coming out of Chumley and 3 tanks moving along the ground behind it. Freedom could have gotten a lot of drones here, but wasn't paying enough attention, and the Roaches do manage to make it across. I think those Hellions might actually run into those siege tanks, but I think the siege tanks are on move command, so they're just, yep, they're just going to waltz by each other. This is going to be very unfortunate. You don't really want to lose 3 siege tanks for free here, which is exactly what's about to happen at this point. Oh, and Zealots in the main base, of course, killing some workers. Only 9 going down thus far, which is a decent amount. Just sieging up the tanks. That was definitely on purpose, I'm sure. Gonna drop into the main base of Little Reaper. Definitely abusing the mech style that's coming out of Freedom. You know, not a whole lot he can do against this, or at least not very quickly. It's very hard to defend against these sorts of things. Gonna annihilate all the probes in this mineral line, but really needs to get out before these siege tanks start shelling on him. Oh no! The siege tank's dealing massive damage to the bio. Those Medivacs should be able to make it out. And but man, he's not defending against the Zealots in his main base. They're almost killing this command center. Does lift the command center and kills the Zealots, but definitely multitasking, pulling at Chumley's macro capabilities a little bit. Very unfortunate. Couple Zealots in the main base of Rex, but Rex is up to 4 bases now, 151 supply. She's got almost as much, actually, she's got more supply than her opponents combined, and ere long, she might have more supply than everyone else combined in the entire game. This is definitely looking a lot better for them this game around, as the mech style, I think, not working out because Chumley's just doing so many drops, and it's really hard to defend against drops as Terrans that are going mech because you're relying on siege tanks, which are very static, very slow units. So if you're caught out of position, it takes a long time to clear things up. A big move out coming across the map, though, and this third base out of Freedom, I think, is completely undefended at the moment. It might be an orbital. Yeah, it's an orbital command as well. So no defensive power at his third base at all. No tanks, no nothing. However, this one Warp Prism out of Little Reaper is putting in work at Chumley's side of the map. A couple Marines are popping out, but will they actually clean them up? I'm not sure. Looks like no. So the Warp Prism's going to come in and warp in some more units. But the Roaches are here. We'll be able to clear out the Zealots. The Warp Prism does pick up, though, and this is forcing Rex to stay at home when there's a big vulnerability across the map. I think now, though, Freedom does have some tanks at his third base. Indeed, he does. Could drop on top of those. Dang, Chumley. Is he going to just drop on top of the tanks? He really should. Oh, he's instead going to drop a... Oh, he's just going straight for the main base. That's a bad idea. And he pays for it. He really should have just dropped on top of those naked tanks. There weren't any turrets there close enough to defend. But can't blame him too much for trying to go past. It was a good effort. It was a good effort. Meanwhile, though, the supply lead is building as Rex is now up to basically maxed out. Chumley, though, is really stagnating. He's having such a hard time against this Warp Prism harass. And, I mean, his SCVs have spent more time sitting there staring at the minerals than they've spent mining at them. So a little unfortunate there, to be sure. Rex is going into Hydralist, though, so a good move, I would say. Some Adepts now out of Little Reaper rather than Zealots. Little Reaper finally getting up into tech, getting some charge lots. Going for, I think, Colossi, maybe Disruptors. Disruptors are a little ambitious, but he might be able to pull it off. Oh, but here comes the Flood. I'm not sure if Freedom has enough to defend this time around. And indeed, he does not. At least not at his third base. He's going to have to sack the third base, but a lot of SCVs might go down. Looks like they will be able to run away, mostly to safety, but that means 3 tanks went down. There's only 6 left, which is a good amount, but that's a lot of Roach Ravager. 3 tanks now running in for Chumley. He saw the charge lots last game, and he said, hey, that was pretty cool. What if I make charge tanks? And, I mean, it seems to be working, so why not? They are pushing into the natural base, doing a lot of damage. Tanks are shown from the high ground, but there's not that many tanks left over here, and I think this may be all she wrote for Littledom in this second game. That's a lot of Widow Mines being produced, but Widow Mines aren't the best against Roach Ravager. Freedom is running his SCVs, but he's losing a lot of them nonetheless. And a little scared to push up onto the high ground is the Blind and the Deaf, but I can't blame them. They have a hard time seeing up there, and they don't know what might be waiting for them. And right now it's just a tank and a few stalkers, but oh my gosh, this Widow Mine count is insane. Now, of course, you can outrange Widow Mines with Hydras, but I think they need the upgrade for it, and I'm not sure they've got that. Chumley accidentally loading up some medevacs. You could also just split off some Marines. Most of the Widow Mines are exhausted, of course. And once they're exhausted, they're paperweights. And but you know, they're not cleaning them up yet, so they might get their cooldowns done so they can shoot again. And I think looking very strong, though, is the Blind and the Deaf here. They're way up in supply, obviously. Little Reaper has basically no mining left, and Freedom has very little. A lot of Widow Mines may take time to clear out. Woo. This is, all right, the final charge, though, I think, is what we're seeing right here. Some of the tanks aren't sieged, some of them barely getting sieged in time, but can only get 1, maybe 2 shots off. And now the Widow Mines are cleared out. And very well done out of the Blind and the Deaf. Not getting phased after game 1, and looks like we'll be able to take a game, which is always nice in your first series of your first tournament. Being able to take at least 1 game in that series is always a nice little confidence boost we could all use. Back in my day, I had to play 8 tournaments before I won a game, but, you know, that's okay. Freedom is holding the high ground with mech, so it may take a while, but I think this game is definitively over as the Blind and the Deaf are tripling the supply of Littledom at this point. Although, you know, there is still... Chumley is having to relocate due to 2 Adepts. Oh, he's trying to charge in, but not the play. I mean, Freedom has, like, no turrets or anything there, but yeah, I think this is the play. Just go for Go for Little Reaper. There's no tanks there. Tanks are very scary. They make me cry, so I approve of this choice. Little Reaper trying to stay alive, but Hydralist's very good against Stalkers and Immortals, although I don't think... Okay, they do have their movement upgrade, so very good on that front. Do not have the ranged upgrade, though, and I love this out of Chumley. Very good, very adaptive play here to go for Liberators now, seeing the tank count. And he goes, what, can tanks not shoot? That's right. Medivacs, but those aren't very helpful, so I'm going to make Liberators instead. Now, I think they really should just push up in and try and kill Little Reaper, but instead going to opt to take care of the expansion of Freedom. Those two tanks will not be enough to defend that, and oh my goodness, the amount of turret shooting Medivacs that has gone on this game is disgusting. I think if you just load up and boost on top of those tanks, you can clean it up pretty easy. And by I think, I mean I know, but he's probably just going to charge in anyways. I mean, it should be fine at this point. I think they're far enough ahead to get away with that. Oh, a lot of Hellions going into the base of Rex at the same time, though. Going to roasty toasty a lot of dronesies, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough. They're not being microed either, so the drones do manage to make it away. A couple Hydros popping at an opportune time should be able to clean up the rest of these, and from there... Oh my goodness. The Planetary Fortress does manage to clean up the rest of the troops here, somewhat surprisingly. But there's very little mining going on for our team in the bottom right. And the Liberators now coming in, shooting away at tanks, I believe. And just absolutely annihilating the army of Freedom. They're fighting until their last breath, but I think they're about to draw it. There's really not much left here. Even if they do manage to shut down a bunch of the mining of the Blind into Death, there's just so much army left for their opponents. And GG is called. We do definitely need a, instead of a time supply cap, we need a time units per sitting in Medivacs counter for Chumley, as it's been at least 5 minutes over the last 2 games. Very, very well played out of both players. Tied up the series. But what a game. What a game indeed. Very cool, very cool, very cool. We are getting into our final game for this match. Loading into the lobby. Now, I imagine Freedom is probably going to go for a slightly a race he's slightly more comfortable with than Terran would be my guess, but we'll see. He might. I would think the games have been so close that you just go Terran in the third game. You know, you go, hey, win or lose, this has been the best, right? Best you can get, optimal, top tier. So we'll see. We'll see if he opts for that. If not, that's cool too. I'll be interested to see what he pulls out. Just letting everyone know that Rex can win by themselves. I mean, why not? But it looks like it's going to be Ross Scallion LE for our final map. And the game is starting, and he is Terran. So, man, this has been a fantastic series, can I say. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are enjoying, make sure to follow the channel. We are going to be streaming FSL matches every Wednesday and Friday. Follow so you don't miss it. 7 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday and Friday. Here we go. We're loading in.
You are watching FSL Season 5.
Boys and girls, we are here in the upper left-hand side. It's our green Terran player dropping like he can't be stopping. I'm going to stop now myself, though. It is
Chumley.
And his ally, the purple Zerg. She is
Rex.
together. They are
The blind leading the death.
And in the lower right-hand side, the mech play not working out quite as well as the bio. We'll see what he does this time. It is
KJ, you may take our lives, but you'll never take our freedom.
And his ally, the man with the harassment plan, he is
Little Reaper.
together. They are
Little Dumb.
These have been some epic games out of this series. Absolutely loving it. Now, it looks like Little Reaper is going for a double gate opening rather than a Nexus after his first gateway, so perhaps a little bit more aggro-focused. Freedom making a Reaper for, I think, the first time in this game, so perhaps we're going to see some more aggro play out of both of them this time around. He is, of course, making an expansion, so won't be all in, but we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, they're both definitely expanding. I see Rex was definitely a little worried about that probe. Send a drone around to make sure there were no cannon rushes. And indeed, there were not. Reaper will be able to clean up the probe, which is always nice. Always a nice little start, you know? You feel good. Nothing quite like murdering a probe on a nice Friday evening. Freedom's Reaper is going across the map, as is Chumley's. Won't quite bump into each other in the middle, but Freedom going to go around and try and jump into the main base, and should be able to get some damage done here, as there are no units to be able to defend. And one SCV does go down, second one very low. Chumley not reacting whatsoever to this. Okay, does pull some SCVs now. Pulls back the wounded ones, pulls back the mule. Excuse me, Maru. What the heck? I think KJ, though, will be quite happy with 2 kills on that Reaper. It looks like that will be all he gets, as Chumley's Reaper does come back. 2 SCVs is a pretty nice start, though, for a Reaper, and definitely seems to have thrown Chumley a little bit off his build, not making SCVs at the moment. His factory hasn't started, things like that, and obviously taking away the mining time as well. So a good little start out of Freedom there. A little bit of a switch up. Meanwhile, we've got Little Reaper making charge once again. He's like, well, this worked the first game, and what I did the second game didn't work. So by the process of elimination, I need to go back to what I did the first game. Another Reaper coming across for Freedom. Just being an absolute nuisance. Now, he did attack move this, so that means if he doesn't micro it, he's going to micro it. Okay, good, good, good. We'll get, I'd say, at least 2 more SCVs. And indeed he do. Yeah, 3 SCVs. That's 5 now for 2 Reapers. Look like it's going to be 6, potentially. Yeah, maybe even 7. Reaper of Chumley does come in, and KJ did not target fire that SCV, so does lose the second Reaper as well, but 5 SCVs for 2 Reapers, definitely quite nice. Factory only just now finishing up for Chumley, so definitely quite behind on his 2-on-1 build. Is getting the starport started, though. Charge is finished up for Little Reaper. Has a warp prism that's now moving across the map as well. Once again, going for Rex. So kind of splitting the attention of their harassment, which I think is a good choice here. Hitting both players, not leaving one to get a little bit too built up. Now, Rex tends to not be prepared for these attacks. They're a very big making drone Zerg. They have not made units very quickly in any of these games, and this game is no different. No Roach Warren. Oh, no, it does have a Roach Warren. Does have a Roach Warren. Okay, there you go. So we'll be able to make units to defend. Will they make units to defend, though, is the real question. It looks like Freedom... Okay, I was going to say going for a drop, but no, just dropping into his own base to defend against that Reaper real quick. And here comes Little Reaper. Only 2 Zealots at the moment, but we'll be able to warp in up to 4 more, I believe it is. Yep, 4 more. That Queen is shooting the Warp Prism, but it's not going to be able to kill it in time and doesn't continue to aggro it. No Roaches on the way just yet for Rex either. 9 now starting. A lot of Marines coming over. Oh, we'll be able to get the Warp Prism. That's actually kind of huge. The Zealots trying to get the Roach Warren, I don't think is the best choice, especially once you see those Zealots there, and indeed, the 4 Zealots do fall. So I'd say this is probably the best defense we've seen out of the Blind and the Death. Although now a drop going into the main base of Chum-Li, who is moving over to try and defend. He can stem in and should be able to clean this up fairly well. Really needs to stem, though. I like the lift on the starport. That's some big gamer moves right there, let me tell you. Does not want to have his Marines funnel in there. Very smart out of Chum-Li. Very impressive. I like that a lot. Some more Charged Zealots just coming straight in across the map. They're going to find these Queens undefended, and the Queens are not transfusing right away, which is very unfortunate. Queens do now run. Roaches moving up. Should be able to get the defense off with this. Now transfusing as well. And yep, the Roaches do have to run away. More Roaches coming, or more Zealots coming, I should say. I think there's enough Roaches here to defend, and more Roaches coming up. Yeah, definitely enough to defend. If Reaper continues here, he's going to lose all these Zealots, and it's going to be very bad for him and his team. As Rex, once again, starting to shoot up in that supply a little bit. If Rex manages to get to where they're making units, they look pretty strong, is what I think we've seen here. So something to keep in mind for their next opponents, I suppose. Freedom and Little Reaper trying to be aggro, but the units are already out for their opponents, so I think this is too little too late. They lost a lot for the harassment, so I think following it up with an immediate attack is a mistake, to be perfectly honest. There's a lot of units here now. These tanks, though, if they get into a power position, could be quite strong. Oh, Chum-Li needs to pull back. Ooh, taking some big hits. The tank's going to maneuver down, I guess. Yeah, okay, that's good. That's good. Does clean up most of the Marines of Freedom. Rex and Chum-Li want to make sure they have enough units to break before they go for it. And I think they do, but it's hard to tell at this point, especially with the siege tanks out. We shall see. I think just a few Ravagers and go, though. I mean, honestly, the tanks are going to try and move up now. A tank for Chum-Li. Will it siege it? Oh, Little Reaper going to dive in. All right, some Ravagers coming up. I think they're going to go now. Okay, pulling back. It looks like Chum-Li's going to go for a counter drop maybe, or try and sneak in behind. And sneak in behind, indeed, is what he's trying to do. He's getting on top of the Warp Prism. Might be able to kill the Warp Prism, which would be very nice. That will get rid of the reinforcements for Little Reaper. And indeed, he does get rid of it. Very nice move out of Chum-Li. And Rex cleans up the ground forces. A big supply advantage for the Blind and the Deaf. And they're going to move across the map. 14 Roaches on the way, plus 1 ranged attack as well. Roach speed is already finished up, and a good number of Ravagers. KJ is going to have to pull his, or Freedom, I should say, is going to have to pull his third base. And indeed, he does. War Prism coming into the main base, though, and this is what we've seen Chum-Li and Rex really struggle with, is these harassment moves while they're moving out and attacking. Although, with this attack coming across the map, it's possible that Little Reaper won't even remember that he has that. He's just moving out with some unsupported Marines a little oddly. Ooh. Ooh, it does take a lot of damage there. Not a single player on the map has noticed the Warp Prism in Chum-Li's main base, even the person who owns the Warp Prism. So a little unfortunate there. Drop is going into the main base, or possibly just a Raven. Nope, it is a drop. Going to go in, but there's a lot of units here ready to defend this, so as long as Chum-Li utilizes those, should be able to clean it up relatively nicely. Does go in. Tanks will shell down the Marines. Does he see the Warp Prism now? I think not. I think he doesn't realize. Nobody realizes. Well, that's okay. Looking a little bit better now for Freedom and Little Reaper. They've managed to get their 2-base setup up, and because of that one combined ramp, the tanks are an extremely strong fulcrum point here. Rex and Chum-Li are just kind of chilling here, not really able to get anything done. Freedom continuing to do some drop harass, but that medevac is low on HP, so he's got to be careful. Does manage to drop his Marines out. Going to be able to kill some SCVs here. Good drop harass out of KJ Freedom. Oh no, and a move command out of Chumley. That's heartbreaking. Loses quite a few extra units there. Oh, the Forgotten Prism is forgotten no longer, it would seem. They do manage to clean up that one DT, but the turret? Oh my gosh, he runs back into the turret range, and then 2 seconds later, the turret burns down. That's very unfortunate. However, not dealing with the Warp Prism means the DTs are just going to go right back to work, and not going to do anything about them. Warp Prism does fly away now. Does manage to clean up a lot of the drop harass, but good harassment. Oh, a big fight happening on the front side of the map. Freedom's forces catching out a bunch of Rex's army while they're back home macroing or something along those lines, I have to imagine. Divide and conquering is definitely happening right here. And I think this fight is going to go very strongly for our team in the bottom right. This might be the impetus they need to really put themselves strongly into the lead. And indeed it is. I think they're just going to push across the map. Mutalisks coming out for Rex. Strong moves. Big gamer moves coming out, but I think it's a mistake. I think they needed to keep making roaches, maybe some hydras, because now this army coming across the map, there's just nothing to deal with it. And poor Chumley is not having the best time dealing with this charge lot army with the DTs and the warp prisms and everything like that. It's a pain. What can I say? It looks like Littledom will be able to clean this up, I think. And very, very well played out of them. They definitely looked a little bit in danger at parts of this game, but managing to pull it back, and I think we'll be able to clean it up as they're pushing in. They got so many siege tanks out now. Some tanks on the high ground for Chumley, but it's not enough to defend. That one tank was so low, does fall, and the continued warp-ins in the main base, and yeah, I think that's going to be all she wrote for the blind leading the death. A good first showing, but Littledom definitely showing their strength here. They are continuing to push up into the base of the Zerg and Terran. Mulus trying to deal with just the tanks and doing a decent job of that, but GG is called.
GG. Wow, that was a very entertaining match. Let's bring in our players so we can talk to them. I have a few questions for them, but you called it. Game 3, KJ Freedom, Steam prevailed, but that was a really good showing by the blind leading the death. But we'll bring in our players here. Good games. It was a really good showing by the blind leading the death. You guys were so close. But how do you guys feel on your first match in FSL? Let's start with you, Rex.
Pretty good. We set a specific quantifiable goal, and it was that we would get to where I was maxed out on roaches at least one game. So in our perspective, we clearly won, since we did do that, and even won a game. So we feel pretty happy. I think that's my analysis.
Yeah, there was the game number 3. There were some points there where you guys were ahead. And if just things could go right, you guys could actually steal that game from them. But, Chumley, Little Reaper just kept dropping in your base and harassing you. Tell us what was going through your mind during all of those harassment.
Typically it was please stop. That was usually about the extent of my thought process, as you could likely tell by how many SCVs I lost. But yeah, no, it did feel like we were ahead at points in that last game, but we just couldn't break the Terran wall with all the tanks and libs, so kind of fizzled out a little bit and then got bogged down with the drops.
Yep, yeah, because the third game, there was a point there where you guys stopped their aggression in the beginning, and then you turned around and you guys were way ahead. So it's just a few of those harassments that kind of derailed your plans. ET, do you have any questions here for the blind leading the death?
Sure, yeah. So in that second game, obviously, you won. But at what point did you kind of feel like, oh, hey, I think we've got this one. Like, we're winning. Like, we got this. Like, was there a specific point where you realized it was like the tipping point?
Did you ask in game 2?
Yeah, in game 2.
Okay, because I know we were winning game 3 too, so there could be confusion, but we of course messed that up. In game 2, I don't remember game 2, to be completely honest. That was a long time ago. Do you remember that?
You
Chumley?
lost your third to the Warp Prism with the Slow Zealots and the Immortals.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I think that when I killed that army and it didn't escape, I felt pretty good about the game, actually.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. What about you, Chumley? Did you have a point in that game where it was like the, oh, hey, kind of moment of like, I think we're doing well?
Yeah, it wasn't quite as early because I don't think I was as focused on what was going on, at Rex's base at that time. But I think like when we pushed through that initial set of bases and then kind of got bogged down with the Widow Mines, I think at that point I'm like, well, if we can just hold out, surely we'll have more resources and they'll mine out, if all else fails.
Surely we can build something that sees Widow Mines. That's all we have to do.
Yeah, eventually we'll figure something out if we just keep more resources.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Very well played to both of you guys. You did great. Good first showing, and well, good luck in the rest of your games.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a really good showing. For most of that game, if you watch it, Rex's supply was just skyrocketing compared to the other teams and other players. And it's just the harassment that really derailed them. But I think if they just take care of that in the future games, I think they'll be in good position and they'll be fine. And I'm looking forward to their games. So good games. Now let's talk to the winner, Little Dom. With Little Reaper. Little Reaper, you were one pesky, harassing Protoss there. Was that your plan all along with AJ Freedom defending and you go harass them to death? What was the plan there?
Yeah, that's basically what it was.
And so, how far were you guys gonna harass, or were you just gonna macro up, or you were just gonna harass all day long?
I was supposed to macro, but I didn't want to.
It's hard.
It's hard. Yeah, but you did an excellent job harassing there, especially with the DTs and the Zealots, and then repositioning your War Prism and going to the natural and to the third. And if I was the other side of that coin, I would be so frustrated. But good job on the harassment. And KJ Freedom, do you have any thoughts on this game and how did it go in your end?
Yeah, Terran is so hectic. I was trying to defend, and then I couldn't get in his base. The tanks couldn't get through to help him. There was one game I could not get through. It was so annoying. I thought about killing his gateway so he can get in there. I was like, no, he needs his gateway, so I had to kind of manually do that. So that was annoying. But you know how Terran is. It's really just a pain to play, but it's fun when it gets going. So it was really tough because they have a giant Roach Hydra push that's really scary, so you kind of need a lot of tanks. I tried to go mech at one point and that didn't really work out too well, so I went back to bio, and then I think I got lucky on the third game with the Reaper harass, killing a lot of SCVs.
Yeah, it was pretty horrible.
Yeah, for most of the game there, Rex was pretty much maxed out on roaches, right? And so that's why you were seeing so many roaches all over the place.
Because you can't engage those roaches. They're just so strong. So I don't know. I just have to be careful. I was worried about anything with drops too, so I was trying to line it up with turrets. It was really action packed. So nice job, guys. You really gave us a handful. I thought we actually were losing game 3 for sure. So I said, okay, we gotta push now. I don't think we're gonna win this if we don't. So I think we were able to siege. I think that was the key there. We were able to siege at a bad spot for you guys.
Yep. Well, and I think I completely didn't notice when you came out of your base and attacked my army. Just did not notice. Like, you showed up at our base and I thought, how did he get around my roaches in front of this ramp? And then I looked and they were not there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I killed your overlord too, because that thing was watching everything. So I was like, I gotta kill it.
Oh man.
ET, do you have any other questions here for Little Dom before we move on?
Yeah, I think you guys cleared it up pretty well. Just great job, very well played. Yeah, some of the best 2v2 games we've had. Obviously, this season there's not a whole lot to compare to, but even in the previous season, these are some of my favorite games. So very, very back and forth, very well done, and good luck throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah,
good luck, guys.
So the blind leading the depth will be facing, unfortunately, GG Izzy, I think one of the top contenders this season, so they have their work cut out for them. While Little Dom here is going to be facing Benzel. I'm really excited for that matchup. So good luck to your future games, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Yes,
you.
guys.
All right, so we're going to be moving on to our Code A match, but let's take a quick break while we set that up, and we will be right back.
Sarah, what have you done?
Kerrigan, the die you cast. This is the last day. Your swarm darkens the sky of any planet.
Forget Minsk. Forget all of it.
When we are done here, I will return to my people and accept their judgment.
Command, we've found Kerrigan. She's holed up in a Zerg base.
I made my peace long ago.
Consider it done. For ire. Indeed.
You have Zergling speed for Kitty Cat Gamer, so she can maybe do like a Ling run by, but actually I'm not sure that we're going to get to that point, as there's only one Queen against 3 Zealots with 2 more coming in. A few Zerglings popping out, but it's really just a trickle at this point, and I'm not sure that's going to be enough. And yeah, absolutely decimating the drones now as they do try to run, which is good, but I'm just not sure it's going to be enough. How are you going to clean up 5 Zealots with just a trickle of Zerglings coming out? And he's just clicking the hatchery. He's like, you can run your drones all day long, but I've yet to see a hatchery get up and walk away. And actually now going for the drones as they are continuing to mine, not running this time. And it looks like Pone with the non-proxied 2-gate Zealot is going to manage to pull it out. As there falls the last drone of Kitty Cat Gamer. It's just a handful of Lings left. She does have a sizable bank, but I don't think she's ever going to be able to clear up all these Zealots, and GG is called. No shield batteries, so no overcharge, imba charge, whatever you want to call it. Oh, there we go. A day late and $1 short, I think, though, as the batteries are only now dropping. Now that the roaches are wandering into the natural base, they do get canceled almost immediately. 23 roaches being made behind this. Oh my goodness. And the roaches are just chasing the stalkers for the rest of eternity. Actually getting some injects off as well as Kitty Cat Gamer. Very impressive. Depowers one of the gateways. So there will be no reinforcements here shortly. So those gateways are getting killed. Just sending a handful of roaches to keep the stalkers busy, and the rest of the roaches ripping through Pone's base. And it's not looking good for him here. 82 army supply out of Kitty Cat Gamer, who is just continually producing roaches and sending them across the map. Only 2 stalkers remain, and they're getting rapidly cornered by these roaches. A good effort out of Chi and Pony Game 2, but Kitty Cat Gamer, it looks like, will be able to tie up the series here. Unless this stalker is the greatest stalker to have ever lived, which I kind of doubt. And now the probes are being pulled, but probes against roaches are not a very pretty sight if you are a Protoss player. And even going to depower the very last gateway, so that is all the army that you're going to see out of the Protoss this game. And there you have it. GG is called. Army that's, you know, able to match that of Kitty Cat Gamers. But as it is, he's not spending it because he doesn't have enough production. There we go. Finally adding on more gateways, but it's too little too late. I fear she's going for the natural, which is where his army is. If he could maybe target down like the overseers, that would be huge, but I don't know that he's going to be able to. And oh, she's charging in. Very good out of Kitty Cat Gamer to stutter step forward. Really needs to do that. The overseers are not in range, so those DTs are actually doing some pretty good work. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though. The immortals are falling. Oh, and he actually stutter stepped back into the view of the overseers, which means, yep, the DTs are now falling as well. And there you go. I mean, it's the macro. That's really what it comes down to. And, yeah, charging through Chianpone's base now is Kitty Cat Gamer. He's got 1 Colossus that he's trying to micro, but Colossi are not good enough, especially against this number of roaches. And it looks like Kitty Cat will be able to push through here. I mean, even just like 2 or 3 shield batteries might have been the difference in that fight, but did not make them, and thus will be falling in this series, it looks like. Yeah, slow warping in Stalkers. Stalkers are not what you need here, unless you could somehow target down the Overseers, but they're being held back pretty far. So, very well played out of both players. Kitty Cat Gamer charging through and absolutely annihilating. Has, I would say, pretty clearly stronger macro than Chianpone. Chianpone has some good aggression, but Kitty Cat Gamer has very good macro for her league, and has absolutely killed it in this series whenever she could macro. And we see that here as she pushes through and manages to clean up the main base of Chianpone. He's desperately trying to do warp ends to defend, but it's not going to be enough. Fighting to his last breath, however. And, I mean, he did manage to win some fights that going into, I don't think anyone really expected him to win or even survive from. Down massively in army supply, but able to have those positioning wins to allow him to survive nonetheless. But there falls the Colossus. A handful of DTs being warped in, but oh, and he almost killed the Overseers, but not quite. So those DTs are not going to be able to accomplish much of anything. And GG is called. Well played, says. You know, drop into the main base and win the game here, but not going to try that just yet. There's really only 2 tanks, only 3 tanks for Mighty Ant, 7 for Deepu, and that's a big disparity at this point in the game. Does scan to see the army and is bringing his tanks up. Oh no! Mighty Ant sieges out of position. I think if Deepu can get pushed up... Oh, I think he's going to siege a little bit too far back, so Mighty Ant should be able to reposition. Nope, Deepu is moving in. He's got that scan up. Oh no, he's going to wade through the tanks, though, with his Marines on the left side, so that's the saving grace for Mighty Ant, potentially. Oh, but some good auto turrets, and charging in on top of the tanks is Deepu, and no, it's just too much. So many tanks, so many Marines charging into the third base, and soon to be the Nat of Mighty Ant. Deepu looking masterful here. And, yeah, playing very well. GG is called.
Spaghetti-o.
Dead. But it is not Proxy Marauder, so it's going to pay off. Sort of, although the Reapers do deny the building of the command center. Now we're just going to jump straight up into the main base. are the Marines. The Marines are still in the bunker. I feel like Deepu is probably F2ing there, but obviously F2 does not work on units that are in a bunker. And now they're sitting at the bottom of the ramp. Deepu definitely getting a little flustered here, I'd say. And good micro out of Mighty Ant. We did see in the previous game that Mighty Ant had about 150 APM over the about 100 of Deepu, so that's good for micro, as we can, clearly see here. 5 Reapers, though, against 4 Marines is basically enough to just go. Oh, the Hellion! Okay, he does kill a Reaper and damage others, so I think these Marines could probably win this fight. Although with the SCV, that does change things a little bit. Okay, pulls the SCVs, but doesn't pull them in the right direction. Okay, he does get a couple of the Reapers, but I think he might have done it. I think he might have done it. I'm really not sure, though. As, yeah, I think he's good. I think he's good. I don't think one Hellion's going to help here, and neither will one Marine. With this continual flow of Reapers pouring in, absolutely annihilating the SCVs right now, which is a sad sight to see. And, yeah, I mean, Hellions are good against Reapers, but, you know, same can be said in reverse. And very well done out of Mighty Ant. I mean, Deepu scouted it, but he just had that bunker on the high ground. I think it's a whole different result. GG! Oh, 2 shutdowns. Oh, Deepu getting the Yamatos off. Doesn't manage to kill the battlecruiser. If he's able to kill the battlecruiser without it getting its Yamato off, that's a lot of lost damage for Mighty Ant, but he was not able to do that. Still, though, fairly nice. He does have the repairs from the SCVs, which is a big deal in a fight like this. Oh, but the Yamato cannon does take down one of the BCs. Did Mighty Ant never get... Mighty Ant never got weaponry fit, but he does have +1 on his BCs, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. He's got to be real careful. Mule Hammer coming down for Deepu, which is important here. Able to repair up his BCs now. However, the Vikings, I mean, they're good against battlecruisers, and they're putting in work here. Good kiting out of Mighty Ant, and I think Deepu's going to lose another battlecruiser. Okay. It's a tight fight, but I think Mighty Ant's coming out ahead here, and he is far up in workers. So once this battlecruiser is cleaned up, the battlecruiser of Mighty Ant will be able to rain havoc down upon the siege tanks of Deepu. The previous attack by Deepu, Mighty Ant's attack has almost no ground units, so tanks aren't really going to help. And BCs are very good against Marines in these numbers that are unupgraded. Oh, a shutdown out of one of the Ravens. Yamato Cannon's now coming out for Mighty Ant, and he has a lot more of them available than Deepu, who used all 4 of his just previously. The Vikings coming in as well, and I think Mighty Ant's actually going to be able to pull it out. And I'd say this is definitely a win of planning and of strategy. I mean, if he does win, I guess I can't say anything quite yet, but you know, he planned out his games very well and reacted very well to what he was seeing from Deepu to you know, pull out the win. And it seems he's going to be able to do that. And GG is called. Unfortunately, Widowmine drop coming out across the map from Sir Maligan. I don't think it's going to get spotted, and that means the mining in the base of Cyan's going to get pretty much completely shut down, as his units are all going to be across the map. However, I think Sir Maligan's life might get shut down because there's an entire army coming into his base. So it's a little bit of a trade-off, after all. And unfortunately, 4 Hellions is not going to do a whole ton, especially when they're going out across the map, it looks like. Yeah, and this is a pretty scary army coming out of Cyan and Ghost Chant, but big hits from the Widow Mines. Oh my goodness, the mass repair. Is that a Marine in the bunker? I think 1 Marine with the most repairs any Marine has ever gotten in their entire life. Oh, does get one of the tanks with the Liberator, which is nice out of Sir Maligan. Does not drop the Widow Mine into the other base, though, but those Widow Mines are going to be able to fire here again shortly. And does get the wall off up against the Adepts. So as long as they can kind of hold, I mean, yep, here goes another round of shots. Unfortunately, only killing 3 probes. Warping in past the wall. That's pretty cute out of Cyan. Cool play. And Mazel getting absolutely hammered here. But Maligan still not dropping that Widow Mine. If he drops that Widow Mine and burrows it, it's going to start slowly killing all those SCVs as well, which would be huge. But busy, obviously. I mean, slightly preoccupied with the army on the other side of the map, so somewhat understand Cyan's adepts. So it might become a 1v1, oddly enough. Not necessarily what we were expecting. The Vikings are good here because without
Welcome back to FSL Season 5. I'm Seth. I'm here with ET. ET, that was one entertaining match we just had in 2v2s, right?
absolutely some crazy back and forth action. Very cool to see.
Yeah, very cool to see. I think the blind leading to death, I think if they just shore up their defense at home from those harassment, I think they have a good plan. They have a good macro setup. Mechanics are there. So, I'm looking forward to their games in the future. But, it's a tough 2v2 league. There's a lot of really good teams there. So we're going to have to see. But we're going to be now shifting gears to Code A between Criminal and Deepu. So the last time we saw Criminal face Deepu was in Season 3 of the playoffs for FSL. And Criminal was in a good role, in the end of the season there, making it to the playoffs. And then he beat The Archaic and Cyan. And then he faced Deepu and just lost 3-1 with some crazy builds by Deepu. So, I'm excited to see how this turns out and what kind of form he's in. I don't know if you've seen them lately, ET, but I guess we'll find out tonight. So let's bring them up. Let's talk to our players here. Joining us now, Criminal and Carloe, or also known as Deepu. How are you two gentlemen doing?
Doing pretty good.
Good. Criminal, how are you? Can you hear us? Alright, while he irons out his audio, Deepu, as I mentioned in the opening here, the last time you guys two faced was in Season 3 of FSL in the playoffs, which you edged them out 3-1 to move on.
Yeah.
How confident are you tonight in this game against Criminal?
Well, if I'm gonna be real, I feel a little bit less prepared than I did back then, but I'm gonna try and do some new builds that I haven't done before. Keep it fresh. You know what I'm saying? Well, he's not here. I'll say that. Yeah.
So what are you planning to play tonight? Are you gonna be switching up the races, or are you just gonna go strictly Terran?
There are a couple Protoss games I want to try. I've been watching some Hearthstone builds recently, cool. So I want to try that a little bit, and then maybe if it gets bad, I'll go to Terran. But yeah, that's the plan.
I see. Any questions here, ET, for Deepu?
Well, no, I mean, I'm just interested to see what he's got in store after all that.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, he dropped his first match of the season with some mind games that he fell short. So the wrong side of that mind game, he got tricked. But his micro is there, his mechanics are there. He just got tricked there. So hopefully that won't happen today. Although Criminal's not a tricky player. But Criminal, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear.
There we go. Now we're back. So Criminal, how are you, number one, and how much have you been practicing lately to prepare for tonight's game?
I haven't practiced at all. I've just been playing some ladder last week. Maybe 3 days ago was the last time I played. I just played one game right now. And it's a platinum level, so it's nothing.
Well, you're in Code A, so this is about the level of competition you'll be facing. But you'll be facing against Deepu here, who does have a few tricks on his sleeves here. So you just gotta have to be prepared.
Did I play him before?
Yes, and the last time you guys played was in the playoffs, where you fell just short against him. And so this might be a revenge, but it's a regular season.
What was his name before?
His name was Carloe at the time.
Yeah.
That's right. So his name is Deepu or Scarloe or Plain or Spaghettio. So it depends on which season we're talking about. Then we can talk about which name he used. So yes, you faced him before.
Yeah.
So before we start, any other questions, ET, for our gentleman here?
Yeah, so would you prefer Deepu to stay with Terran? How do you feel versus Terran as opposed to how you feel versus Protoss? Are you more confident against one race or the other?
I don't know if he heard you there. Can you hear us, Criminal?
Yeah, I can hear.
Oh, so I guess you didn't hear ET. So his question was,
Oh,
how
I thought it was towards Deepu. Sorry, was it towards me?
Yeah,
yes,
towards you.
yes.
Okay, yeah. Confident against Protoss? Not really. I'm not confident. I hate fighting with Protoss. I like TVT.
All right,
And
well, we're gonna be. Oh, yes, actually picking Protoss tonight. Okay.
so yeah, and I think I'm very rusty. So we'll just see.
Well, if you win against his Protoss, the reward will be you'll get a TVT because he's gonna switch to TVT. So that will be a good incentive to do your best here against Protoss. So having said that, we're gonna be starting. We're gonna.
Oh
mute
yeah,
and-
let's go. Let's
yeah,
have
we're gonna
fun.
mute. Let's have fun. We're gonna mute deafen you. We'll talk to you guys after the match.
All right.
And
Okay,
let's
all right.
let's do this.
Let's play.
All right, so they're muted and deafened, so we can talk about them till the cows come home. They won't hear us, but I think we're ready to go.
Yeah, and of course, initially we've got Pride of Altaris, followed up by 2,000 Atmospheres, and then Curious Minds. So obviously Blackburn and Hardwire, which I'd say are most people's the two weirder maps in the map pool right now, got banned right off the bat, so not too surprising. So there'll be a lot of macro maps, but we are getting ready to hop in. We're loading into the map. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
You are watching FSL Season 5.
All right, here in the bottom right-hand side of Pride of Altaris LE, it is our blue Terran player. He is
Criminal.
And his opponent, the pink Protoss. He is
Deepu.
And of course, everyone, if you are enjoying the broadcast, make sure to drop a follow. There will be matches every Wednesday and Friday, as well as various other Storm gaming events. So make sure to follow the channel if you want to see more of that. Anyways, Deepu coming across the map with his probe, going to be scouting. Criminal, no scout yet, just dropping that barracks on his side of the map. So no shenaniganry right off the bat, at least. Likely we'll see a gas following up for him. Deepu probably looking to expand as well. So it should be a fairly macro-focused game to start us off. The probe looking to be a nuisance, but that SCV was in the wrong spot, could not hit it, and then a depot gets dropped to prevent it from coming inside. So Deepu being Criminal being a little tricksy, pulling out the moves on this poor probe. Now Deepu will be able to drop his cybernetics core here shortly. Barracks is going to finish up for Criminal. And making a Marine to start off. I think the SCV is going to lose this fight if he's not careful. Okay, does make it away. It's too close to call. All right. I mean, the Marine could kill this probe, but it's rallied to the SCV, so it's going to actually make it back away. Command Center and second barracks does drop for Criminal. Deepu on the other side of the map is getting a second gateway and a cybernetics core up. And yeah, so Deepu going to be getting a little bit aggressive. I think this is probably Proxy Robo, something like that. Obviously, he did say he's been taking some inspiration off of Hearthstone here lately. Hearthstone has quite a few different aggressive builds he pulls out with Protoss. We'll see exactly what we're going to see here. Double gas now dropping for Criminal, who's going for 3 barracks. No scout, though. That's going to hurt a lot here. Although Deepu, Criminal... Oh no, Criminal gets the scout off immediately. That robotics facility dropping just a second too early. And the Marines are going to move out now, it looks like. He's seen it. Or nope, never mind. They're just repositioning. I think really should move out. Although we do have a couple of stalkers coming out across the map. So it is going to be that proxy robo with shield batteries out of Deepu here. It has been scouted by Criminal. I think he's seen it based on his army movement, but we can't say for sure just yet. Is sending an SCV out to the corner of the map, perhaps to drop like a proxy starport or something like that, or just scouting, I guess. I'm just going to go for a bit of a scout. He's now landing. This gives me the feeling that maybe Criminal doesn't know what's going on, because I feel like he'd be slightly more concerned at a Protoss production building showing up in your base. Deepu does have these shield batteries to fall back on, and just slow Marines out for Criminal at the moment. Really needs to get a couple bunkers up on the high ground, needs to get a factory out ASAP. Is making stim, is producing 3 Marines at a time, which is nice. Definitely will want to float that orbital command back. Factory is on the way. As is that stim pack. Does see that it's just a 1-base build out of the Protoss. Deepu still able to fall back to these shield batteries. Infinity healing. Does kill a couple of Marines, but Criminal can afford to lose just a few at this point. Doesn't really want to lose that command center for sure, though. And, oh, he's rallying some Marines down onto the low ground. That's unfortunate. Stim, if it finishes up, will be massively helpful here. But I'm not sure if it's going to be able to. The Warp Prism trying to go down to the bottom left side, but is spotted by Criminal, who can now make siege tanks. Definitely wants to get one of those going and should be able to here momentarily. Indeed, there comes a siege tank. I mean, Marine tank, he really should have a bunker at this point. May be able to hold nonetheless, though, as there's no Immortal coming out. Deepu floating a lot of money. He's hitting a huge supply block right now. He has an Immortal trying to make, but he doesn't have the supply to do it. 2 pylons now dropping. That is a massive supply block, especially whenever you're all inning. You really don't want to be hitting supply blocks because every unit matters so much in these low supply count scenarios. Siege tank is almost out and being rallied to the low ground. Deepu does drop into the main base, but tank now sieging up. And it looks like Criminal's just going to go for an absolute bust now. And this may work. I think if the Immortal was out, it might not, but... Oh, maybe he's not. Okay, he's rethought his decision. He's contemplated. He's come to the conclusion that he doesn't want to do that. Although maybe he does. Maybe he just doesn't want to pull his probes, or his SCVs, I should say. He does need to bust out in the near future, as Deepu is expanding behind this, so not too overly committed to this build. Does get his tank sieged up in range of the Stalkers, so they aren't able to rely on the shield batteries as much. The Immortal trying to dive on the siege tank, but then stops. Oh, he loses the Immortal. That's so painful, and this is going to be a breakout for Criminal, I believe. The tank's able to shell away. The shield batteries are out of energy. There are 4 Stalkers in the Warp Prism. There's a lot of units out for Deepu, but he's fighting somewhat disjointedly, which means his Stalkers fall. He does have some in the main base, but I'm not sure that was worth losing all those Stalkers at the front. I think he might have been able to get at least one of those siege tanks if he'd had all his Stalkers together, but instead he's going to lose all of his production here on this side of the map. Luckily, he still has a base, but, you know, it still hurts a little bit. Nonetheless, Deepu almost has his natural base up. Does have a decent amount of production back at home, dropping a 3rd gateway. Maybe going to get a Twilight Council or something along those lines. Criminals, Marines are as overstemmed as it gets. And with only 1 medevac to heal, they're having a bit of a painful time here today. I think Deepu will be able to make it out with the Warp Prism and his 4 Stalkers in tow, so that's nice for him. Criminal definitely in a pretty good spot here, I'd say. A major tech advantage, already having Stim Pack done. Has 3 barracks, a starport, and a factory. He's got all the production you need on 2 bases, really, to go up to that 3rd base. Prism going to try and come back in. The Criminal trying to set up a little bit of a trap for it. Has a missile turret. I guess 2 Marines, but they have no health on them. But that might be enough. Oh my goodness, Deepu. Don't lose the Warp Prism to 2 Marines with 5 HP apiece. Okay, he gets it. He gets it. Good, 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 good. Wouldn't want to lose that there. That would be very unfortunate. Criminal very low on the gas count because he had to run all of his SCVs out of his main base, so he's not able to make more medevacs just yet to heal up all those injured Marines. Really needs to get those in the near future, but a drop on the other side of the map is killing probes in the main base. 3 probes do go down, but this is the lowest health drop without fighting anything I've ever seen in my entire life. is healing up the Marine slowly, but definitely in a bit of a painful spot are a lot of these Marines. Deepu going to flank in with the Warp Prism, it looks like, maybe. Oh, no! Oh, no. Loses the Warp Prism with 4 Stalkers in it. That's so unfortunate for Deepu. I'd say that's drop is well worth it at this point. Loses so many probes and then a full medevac as well. If we look at the units lost tab, you can see that Criminal's been over twice as efficient as his opponent. 1,700 to 4,300. That's a major difference. We can see even in that battle report, it doesn't quite show it correctly because there are 4 Stalkers in the Warp Prism. It doesn't show 4 Stalkers, but 5 Stalkers, 3 probes, and a Warp Prism for just 8 Marines and a medevac. You'll take that any day of the week. And Deepu calls GG. Well played out of Criminal there. Manages to pull off the defense. And that supply block really hurt for Deepu. But a good try nonetheless. So it looks like Criminal may indeed get that TVT he was talking about wanting. We'll see if Deepu chooses to go for another Protoss game or if he will swap over to Terran. Whatever he is, though, it's going to be on 2,000 atmospheres. He is picking Protoss at the moment, but that may change. Subject to terms and conditions, I suppose. We are starting, though. Looks like he will indeed stay as Protoss. And here we go. We're loading into the map. Any second now. Welcome, everyone.
You are watching FSL Season 5.
Welcome to the FSL and welcome to 2,000 atmospheres. In the upper right-hand side of the map, it is our red Terran player. He is
Criminal.
And in the bottom left-hand side of the map, the pink Protoss. Trying to tie the series up. He is
Deepu.
All right. A quick probe coming out for Deepu. Perhaps a cannon rush. Nope, just a gateway. Who knows then? Just a harassing probe, it would seem. But looks can be deceiving. We'll see if that actually is what it is. Obviously, Criminal attempted to wall out the probe in the previous game with the depot. Don't know if he'll be able to get that done this time around. And this SCV is not in an advantageous position this time around. SCV does come to try and push away the probe. Pulling the second SCV as well, quite smartly. Will push the probe back. Deepu trying to make it up into the main base to scout. Drops a pylon. Just to prevent the wall off, I suppose. A couple SCVs bite away at it. Should see that canceled, I would say. And it looks like he is planning on canceling it. There we go. And we see this gasless opening for Criminal once again. Quick command center and probably a quick additional barracks. Probably we'll see those 3 racks once again. Just as we did in the previous game. Meanwhile, Deepu, he's dropping his Nexus, then his Cyber Core. Gonna drop that second pylon as well. And there comes the second command center out of Criminal. Criminal's SCV is scouting this game. I guess he sort of scouted last game. It was just a little late, but did manage to see the attack coming when he needed to. We'll see what sort of tech Deepu opts for with that Cybernetics core. Right now it's just a Stalker and a Warp Gate research on the Cyber Core. Meanwhile, we do see those 2 additional barracks coming down for Criminal, who is scouting around, trying to see what Deepu is up to. And there goes Deepu's probe. It's going to be a robotics facility at home this time around. I believe Criminal will see that out of the corner of his eye, but will he see that out of the corner of his eye? Who knows? Stalker does come out. We'll be able to push back any more attempts at scouting out of Criminal. But I don't think there really are going to be that many. He's just looking for proxies at this point. Orbital Command coming up for Criminal, who's making a lot of Marines. Going to get that fairly quick stim pack once again, it looks like. And Deepu dropping a Twilight Council behind his robotics facility. Have to see what he makes out of both of those buildings, really. Stim pack is now on the way, and an engineering bay as well. Commanders are just going to float down to the natural base now. And it looks like it's going to be just a fairly typical 3 racks assault with stim pack, possibly with some Marauders mixed in there as well, but maybe just Marines, we'll see. Or it could just be purely defensive. Is dropping a factory now, and we'll be able to start saturating that natural base. Deepu dropping a couple of additional gateways. Has his cyber core out now. Looks like he's going to be researching charge. Nothing out of that robotics facility just yet, though. Warp gate has finished up. +1 attack is on the way for Criminal. He's got a good chunk of Marines out now. Stem a little over halfway done. That factory getting close to finishing up. And taking a 3rd gas in his natural base. Deepu adding on his gases as well. His charge is heading towards completion. And a forge on the way for Deepu, so we're going to see some upgrades this game. Always nice. A lot of Marines out for Criminal and no splash damage out for Deepu just yet. He is getting a Templar Archive, so doing a little bit of the good old Protoss storming, potentially. But with this many Marines and no source of splash damage, I don't know. Does he have... He does have a shield battery, so maybe able to hold this with a battery overcharge if he's quick on it. But if Deepu targets that, or if Criminal targets that down, going to be a difficult hold here. It is only 5 Stalkers against 21 Marines who do have stim packs. I think he might wait for his +1 attack because it is so close, which might allow Deepu to have time to get out some charge lots, which he desperately needs. But no, he's just going to go right in. He stems in and is... Oh, no, I think that was supposed to be a battery overcharge, but accidentally recalls instead. That's very unfortunate for Deepu here. He's trying to warp in some charged Zealots, but with no shield battery and this many Marines, it's going to be difficult. Another stem does come down, so the Marines are heavily injured. Going to kill a lot of probes, though. 16 falling thus far. It looks like the total counter will be 16. Not that far down in workers, though, is Deepu. But he is down in mules, which is something he already was down in, but it matters more now. And Storm, most of the way done. Does have a good gas bank. Could make 4 High Templar right now, which would make a lot of stem. Which, considering the only fighting in his Criminal has at the moment is Marines, that would probably be pretty good. And indeed, there come High Templar. 3 at the moment. More soon to be on the way, I'm sure. Starting to reprobe his bases. Criminal does have a 3rd base finishing up, so if he actually makes SCVs, we'll be able to get a significant worker lead. And there do fire up some SCVs. He's getting his combat shields up, which is a very important upgrade. Obviously, adding 10 HP to your Marines is very significant. It allows them to last about 0.2 seconds longer when they get Psy-stormed. So, very important. It is actually an important upgrade. It's just if you stand in Storm, it won't matter too much. But he probably won't, so it'll be good. +1 attack now on the way for Deepu. +1 armor on the way for Criminal, who is doing a double drop across the map. He's definitely been the aggressor this game around, and it's been paying off for him. That Marine attack was very strong, and this double drop has the potential to do a lot of damage. There are some zones in the main base of Deepu where he cannot see, so his Marines should be able to fully unload if Criminal's careful about it, or he might just charge straight in and drop on top of the probes. But the army of Deepu is moving out to that 3rd base of Criminal, which has almost nothing to defend it, and the few things that it does have to defend it are kind of like, you know, not very good against a lot of Psy-storm. So we'll see exactly what happens there as they are charging in. However, killing SCVs in the third base is not quite as important as killing everything in the main base of the Terran. So if all he does is damage the third base, that's not going to be enough for Deepu here. He really needs to get more damage done here. So he tries to split off some Zealots, does not quite manage to. Oh my gosh, this might be a bit of a Storm Chaser is about to come down. Oh man, that storm is massive, but I'm just not sure there's enough staying power behind the storms, as it's almost purely High Templar at this point. Really needs some Zealots to be warped in as well, but I think he might be warping those in defensively. No, he's warping them in offensively. So if Criminal continues attacking with his drop, which he is going to do, it's going to get a lot of damage done. I'm not sure there's enough staying power in Deepu's army to be able to push through and clean up. And, okay, will recall. Good choice there, I would say. Is up in workers, so if he cleans up this drop, which a good initial storm to do so, but the medevacs will make it out with the Marines in tow. He's going to redrop, though. I'm not sure if I like that choice. Those Marines are so injured at one more storm, and they're gone. He's going to try and kill this base, but does not target fire, so will not be able to do it. A double storm, slight waste, but no big deal. Does kill both medevacs, so a pretty good cleanup there out of Deepu. He is down in supply, but he's up slightly in workers, so if he can repower his gateways and get Zealot production online, it will be quite strong. He's still got a lot of High Templar available. Not too many storms on them, but they will regenerate those. However, this is a big army of Criminal with a lot of Marauders in it, which are pretty good against Storm. So unless Deepu takes his bank and converts it into units now, it's not going to look very good for him in about 15 seconds. His gateways are now repowered. We need to see some charge lots being made, or else he's going to stand almost no chance here. Is making a few charge lots. That's good. He does have at least 4 storms, I think. 6, maybe? Does see the army coming in now for Criminal. Oh, no. Okay. Is keeping his army together. That's important. If he loses this third, though, that's going to hurt a lot. He's going to be kicked back down to 2 bases. A big storm initially that's not dodged at all. Every bit of damage goes off on the bio here. That is a ton of damage. Deepu really needs to get those probes mining again. One more big storm like that might be the turn of the tide that he needs, though. He's looking for it. And that is a big one. He's chasing them down. Storm chasers, but in reverse, I guess. There's only one medevac out for Criminal, and that's kind of been his Achilles heel this entire game. There's not enough healing to fix up his Marines after the one storm, so then the next storm comes in and just annihilates everything. Deepu catching up in the supplies on an equal worker count. He is down a base, but that third base of Criminal is really not mining much, and just a little counterattacks out of Deepu is exactly what he needs. He's doing quite well with those. However, I think his Warp Prism might get killed by Criminal, just possibly even on accident if he just moves back to defend these Zealots. Looks like he's just going to deal with those with the reinforcements, though, so he should be okay. Deepu continuing to warp in more units. He does still have a good amount of Storm available. Can definitely use maybe some more High Templar to turn into Archons, as he is floating almost 1,000 gas. Starting to hurt a little bit for minerals on only a 2-base economy. Warping a couple of Zealots into the main base, though, to try and harass in there, which is a good choice. Every little bit of damage and keeping the Terran busy is huge here for the Protoss player. Looks like he is going to go for that Warp Prism, though, and clean it up, possibly. Does make it out. Good out of Deepu. Very nice. A lot of armies sitting in all of Criminal's bases, though, to defend against any sort of Zealot attack, so it's going to be harder and harder to get damage with those now. Although these 2 Zealots are still surviving somehow. Going to be able to clean up a supply depot there, I think. A drop into the main base of Deepu. The Zealots are there to defend. And Criminal will load up and get out. Deepu looking for damage, but now it's harder and harder to find, although Criminal did take his units out of his main base. Needs to leave those there to deal with this. But at the third base, Criminal's dropping in. I think he's going to lose all these units, though, unless he picks up ASAP. Deepu not storming. There we go. Big storm coming in. We'll clean up all these units. That's good. But now there's a drop in his main base he needs to get to. He'll be able to clean up a couple gateways and pylons, which is nice for Criminal. Deepu still in the main base, being a hassle. Barely going to keep that gateway alive is Deepu. He does kill a couple Marauders, so that's nice. Needs to repower those production buildings, though. some immortals would be absolutely huge here. Is just some staying power for Deepu, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get those up and going. Warp Prism of Deepu somehow still alive. It's being chased by Bio right now, but it will make it away. Just barely. Skin of its... I don't think it has teeth, but if it did, it would be making it out on the skin of those. So that's nice for it. There's just this random depot of criminals in the bottom right-hand side of the map. I was wondering what that was for the longest time, and I finally went and looked, and it's just a supply depot, so that's interesting. Gonna be able to chase down the Warp Prism, though, and I think maybe able to get it. Deepu, though, quick reactions on his Warp Prism. Very nice, but a massive army of criminal coming across the map. Once again, the only way Deepu survives this is with some of the best storms he's ever had in his entire life, but he does have a lot of them available, so we'll see. Criminal going to split up down each side of the map, try and get us around. Deepu pulls back a little bit, which is good. If he can isolate these two halves of the army, that would be very nice for him. A lot more Marines on that right side as well, so more vulnerable to the Zealots and the storms. And a big storm goes down on the right side army. Does clean up almost all of it, which means he can go back and deal with this left side army without as much danger of being pincered, although another big army coming in for Criminal. He's just got so much stuff. Deepu really needs to deal with this army on the left side. And deal with it he will, with some massive storms blanketing the bio there. I mean, Immortals are pretty good against Storm, but if they just sit underneath it, it still will do almost all of their health and damage. But Deepu does call out GG. Criminal will take the series 2-0.
GG, good games, gentlemen.
Man,
Deepu,
that was a lot of misclicks. My
you were
fingers
so
are...
close. I think you were trying to overcharge that battery in game 2, but
Yeah.
accidentally did a recall instead. And I think that was the one mishap there that really set you back. And in the first game, I think you had a really good plan on your really early attack, but then you got supply blocked severely at the wrong time, and I think that set you back as well. It really didn't have the power punch that you hoped it would. What happened in those games?
Yeah. The first game, the probe that I was gonna build the more pylons on, I walled him in, and so I couldn't build the pylons, and I didn't notice. I think. Yeah, and then you're exactly right about game 2. It just I've been trying out the hotkeys again, and I put the hotkeys wrong, and that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think if you pulled off the overcharge, it'll force Kermittle to target the battery instead. But I think you wouldn't have lost 16 probes in that scenario, and I think you would have been, better off coming into the mid game. And I think you had a really good plan with the storm and charge, and it just didn't have enough. At the end of the day, there was just too much Terran. Yeah, so you were planning to play Terran as well, but I guess we didn't get there. I guess what did you have planned if you were gonna play Terran against them?
Well, it was more of a I'll get there when I get there kind of idea, to be honest with that. Yeah.
Yeah. ET, do you have any questions here for Deepu?
No, I think you cleaned it up pretty well. Yeah, it was just a very good harassment out of Criminal. It's hard to deal with, and some 6 storms, a good effort. But I'm sure you'll do. I'm sure you'll do well throughout the rest of the series and in your tournament. So good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and congratulations to Criminal. You said you were rusty. You said you haven't really played, but you know what? You're on top of the small things today.
Man,
Although,
I felt like a gold player. So many misclicks and so many wrong.
my
Yeah.
question is, in that game number 1, your SCV comes down to scout, and you clearly you saw the Protoss buildings warping in.
No, I
but-
didn't see. That's
but
how.
you didn't Okay.
Yeah, I only noticed the last. I think I missed that. I was trying to see how many gas he was taking. I wasn't really looking for a base inside my base.
Gotcha, gotcha. We just wanted to confirm because we weren't sure whether you saw it or did
That's
you
how
see it.
old school I am, man. I just look at the gas to see if this guy's gonna do something.
ET, do you have any questions here for Criminal?
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, game one, were you pretty worried whenever you did realize that there was a whole base in your base, or did you feel like you had a pretty good response prepared for that?
I think that Wings of Liberty build like covers a lot of the cheeses for the lower levels. So I was like, I think I would have enough Marines. So, and try to get the tank out as soon as possible.
Yeah, well, very good response, very well played, and good luck in the rest of your series.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah,
Good
hope
luck.
to practice some more. You guys need to practice me, man.
Yeah, we should get on and practice and do some customs together. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, felt really bad, but I guess I was lucky.
No, it was good. You did your due diligence and scouting, and just take it methodically, right? And but that was a lot of bio in the end there, game
It
two.
could have
So
been finished a lot earlier if my micro and my hotkeys were correct. But as soon as as soon as I saw
well,
that he
it's a
was doing.
long season, so you got a lot of chance to display those hotkeys and
Oh man,
micro.
I can't
Oh.
display anything. I don't have. I need to learn it.
All right.
Relearn it. All right. Thank you guys.
GG's, and we're
GG's
gonna
and
be moving on to our Code S match, which actually, honestly, ET, I've been looking forward to this match tonight. Right? We have Sir Maligant, who's our co-caster for most of the time here, who just jumped in directly to the stream channel, and facing up against Instability. Now, Instability joined our FSL Season 4. Um, did not make the playoffs, unfortunately, but she was almost 2-1 on almost all the games. And she just lost by just a hair in every single one of them, which really was the difference of making it the playoffs and not making it. So, but we have Sir Maligant here already. Let's actually bring up Instability. Joining us now are Sir Maligant and Instability. How are you two doing? Let's start with Sir Maligant. I know I saw you're cramming there. It's like cramming for an exam, playing.
Yeah, man. I haven't played for a week,
So how
more
did
than a week.
you feel, and how did those ranked matches go?
Not so good. So unfortunately.
Unfortunately, so okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I need to
any
I need to play at least a couple weeks to get my rhythm back, but yeah, I just don't have time. So
right. So, but more specifically, how do you think you're gonna do against Instability? You've seen her play. You've even casted some of her games. So, what are you looking forward to tonight's game?
I know, man. Yeah, PvP is not my best matchup, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, Instability has a lot of good builds, so I'll just have to keep scouting her. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
All right. While we talk to Instability, so Sir Maligan, I know you're still using the Discord video. You need to get on the Ninja one. So while you set that up, let's talk to Instability here. Instability, how are you this evening, and how has your practice been lately? Can you
You're
hear
muted.
us?
Yeah.
Instability. Oh, there you go.
I don't know. I feel fine about it. Like, some of my practice has been good, and some of it has been really bad. So.
All right.
Some
So
of your opponents were less than cooperative in your practice.
Yeah, exactly.
all right. So my next question is, how familiar are you with Sir Maligant's style of Protoss? Let me give you a hint. He really cheeses a lot. But how familiar are you?
And you gave
with,
it away.
Sir
No,
Maligant?
just kidding.
I kind of heard a bit about him being a cheesy player, but I haven't watched any of his games, Protoss games, that is. So I don't know. I'm just.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot of VODs for him. You'd have to go all the way back to like FSL Season 2, and even then you'd have to unearth them. It's really hard to find. Um, other than his Terran games in 2v2, which is not going to help you. But ET, do you have any questions here for both our players?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I guess, you know, I did obviously Instability is my little sister, so before the match, I was like, I know he makes a lot of Widow Mines in 2v2s, and then she was like, he's playing Protoss, and I was like, well, never mind then. I guess that's not the most hopeful. But yeah, so how are you feeling in PvP specifically, Instability, and I guess after that, Sir Maligan as well? How do y'all feel about that matchup?
I was doing really poorly at the beginning of the season in PvP, and I haven't recovered my win rate yet, so not super great.
But improving?
Yeah.
Okay, and how about you, Sir Maligan?
Yeah, still a bad win rate for me against PvP. So yeah, I've been trying to practice some typical PvP openings because my style of play is so different. I like to mix around stuff. I've never been the standard kind of guy, so that's been my downfall. So we'll see how it goes tonight.
All right, awesome. And obviously, you have a little bit more of a backlog of things you can check to get an idea of Instability's play. Did you do any sort of prep on VODs or anything like that before this match?
Yeah, I just checked her game with. I think it was a game with Cyan. Was the last game she had, right? Was it?
Yes,
yeah,
that's
I think
correct.
that was when she won 2-0. So yeah, that was the last the only time I've seen her video. So
All right, awesome. Well, good luck to you both, and I look forward to seeing what you got.
Yeah,
Alright.
good luck. But before we start, we need to ask Sir Maligan to finish out his map picks, so we'll have the list here.
Oh.
You only did the vetoes. You got to do your map selection. Just one more, and then make sure
There
you're
we go.
on your video. So production is our co-caster here, Sir Maligan, doing his job, trying to get in the right. There you go. Fix the video before we start.
Can you guys
Alright.
send me the link?
Oh my goodness. All right.
I'm not used to this one because I usually cast. I don't barely play. So
Yeah,
where's
so
that link?
if you go to the FSL channel in our
Ah,
Discord,
got it.
there is the last message by me is actual the link, and you'll see the password there as well. So if you get that up, and you should be able to do that since you're very familiar with the tech, we can get started. In the meantime, I'm gonna mute and deafen you guys, and we'll talk to you guys after the match. Good luck and have fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Actually, while we have Sir Maligan get his videos up, what do you think about this match, ET? I mean, you're very familiar with instability. I don't know if you're as familiar with Sir Maligan, but what are you looking for in this game?
Yeah, so I think I have a vague memory of watching Sir Maligan in one of the Codesses or something like that a while back in the earlier seasons, but I don't really remember too much in specific. So I'm just excited to see PvP, obviously a volatile matchup, and we'll see if Sir Maligan's going to go with the aggression. He did hint a little bit that he's been trying to diversify into some macro, so we'll see if he's managed to do that or not. But looks like we are ready to go. And we'll be counting down into our first map, Berlingrad LE, I think. First time I've cast on this map. We actually do have Blackburn in the map pool, so pog out for that, chat. A rarity to see, but here we go.
You are watching FSL Season 5.
All right, in the upper left-hand side of Berlingrad LE, we have our green Protoss player. He is
Sir Maligan.
And his opponent in the bottom right, the red Protoss. She is
Instability.
Of course, as mentioned, Instability was possibly the best loser we've seen in the Codess. Not managing to make the playoffs, but probably as close as you could come to winning every series without winning every series. So we'll see how she's managed to improve in the off season and how she looks against her Maligan, who obviously is a little bit of a I'm not sure I'm using the term right, but a little bit of a dark horse, you know. We're not sure what to expect quite from Sir Maligan. We haven't seen him in a couple seasons outside of his Terran play, which is obviously very different from his Protoss play. So we'll see exactly what he manages to pull out here. If it's going to be aggression or just defense, it looks like it is going to be a double gate opening out of instability. A quick double gas out of Sir Maligan as well, and that second gateway coming down. Sir Maligan comes in for the scout. Instability getting ready to drop that cyber core, but her probe gets distracted by the other probe, so it's going to be a little bit late, possibly completely forgotten. We actually don't have it from either player at the moment. They're both gentlemen's agreement to not drop it right away. Holy cow, Instability's plumb forgot. There we go. Cyber core coming down, but a little bit late to be sure. A lot of gas getting mined on both sides of things, though. And not the end of the world. 2 or 3 seconds difference. Not going to be the end-all, be-all. Second gateway finishing up for both players. Cybernetic score will be down soon. Instability's second pylon is a little bit late as well, but because of that late cyber core, it shouldn't affect things much, if at all. Sir Maligan making double Adept and Warp Gate right now. Should be able to drop a tech building in the near future as well. Most likely either a Stargate or a Twilight Council. As it's double Stalker for Instability, making that Warp Gate as well. And it looks like it is going to be a Stargate out of Sir Maligan. Instability. Looks like she may opt for a Stargate as well. Floating a little bit of gas here. Going up towards that 150 count. Might not make a tech building at all. Might go straight up into a second base, which does work out quite well against a Stargate. Obviously, no big attack coming out for Sir Maligan, so won't get hurt too much there. However, does opt to make an additional Stalker rather than expand right away. A proxy pylon coming out for Sir Maligan. Curious to see what's going to come of that. Adepts trying to just run up into the main base, but they're getting body blocked by the Stalkers. We'll be able to shade past, though. Instability will chase it down, and with that Adept so low, I doubt we'll see a finished shade out of Sir Maligan here. No, indeed we will. Not targeting the right Adept right away will cause 2 probes to fall. And will he be able to target down another one? Will not. 2 probes for 2 Adepts. I guess 3 because of the one on the other side of the map, I think, fell as well. Double Stargate for Sir Maligan. Or did he cancel the one on the other side of the map? No, double Stargate. Okay, double Stargate for Sir Maligan, one of which is proxied with some batteries. Is it going to be Void Rays or is it going to be Phoenix here, though, is the real question. Looks like it is going to be Void Rays. An interesting build for sure here. Twilight Council on the way for Instability. Blink Stalkers can be quite good here. But this is a difficult build to hold, especially when you have no idea it's coming because you haven't scouted your opponent's natural to see if they're expanding. Rutrow, Raggy. I mean, he did leave that sort of misleading probe there, I think meant to throw your opponent off onto whether or not you're expanding or not early on, but still hasn't here. Shield battery coming down at home. Don't know how I feel about that. Oh, it's Proxy Dark Shrine out of Instability. These players are going for the throat in game number 1. Holy cow. Double proc, or I guess not double proxy Void Ray, but basically double proxy Void Ray versus Proxy DT game 1. Does get scouted by Instability now. She sees what's coming, needs to drop a shield battery ASAP, and there they come. 2 shield batteries, playing it very safe. 5 Stalkers, though, against 2 Void Rays is not enough, especially with the shield battery there. She needs to pull back. You really got to run here. Warping in additional Stalkers. No charge up out of Sir Maligan just yet. Is finally charging up, but he's shooting the Sentry, actually, which Void Rays do not deal bonus damage against when charged up. The Dark Shrine is nearly finished up. If she can just rely on these shield batteries to keep alive for long enough to get 2 or 3 DTs out on his side of the map, that's going to be absolutely massive for her. The 2 Void Rays coming back in, but they don't have overcharge for quite a while now. And if 2 batteries up, she can overcharge these as well. And 2 DTs coming out. This is going to be massive. He has no detection. He will be able to make an Oracle, but that takes a while. And if you split up your DTs, he won't be able to reveal both of them at once. Obviously, when it comes to detection, Oracles are kind of the worst you have as Protoss. They are nice, they move fast, but you have a targeted ability that reveals an area of units for a short period of time. She's not going up into the main base, though. Uh-oh. Instability kind of throwing it a little bit here. He's going to try and get the pylon down, but he misses it. Oh, no. Oracle is on the way now. The other DT was just chilling there like an absolute villain. Definitely needs to keep the DTs away from each other so that this Oracle can't reveal both of them at once, but it's going to be close here. Opting to go for the pylons, though, and that's not going to kill it in time. Oh, and now the Oracle's going to reveal both. That's very unfortunate. A quick recall might have been able to save it, but at the end of the day, Instability is a little bit up in workers. She's got shield batteries to defend on the other side of the map, and she can continue to warp in more DTs, whereas Sir Maligan, it's hard to do continued detection with Oracles, but definitely not splitting those DTs up was a big mistake out of Instability. Trying to just go for the bus. This is a bad idea. This is a really bad idea. Okay, it does pull back. And now, though, Sir Maligan can get on top of these shield batteries and these pylons. The shield batteries, though, are still available. Does kill one Void Ray, so that's all right. Does depower her gateways, though. She needs to get another pylon up ASAP. Sir Maligan, though, looking at a pretty good spot at this point. She's not continuing to do pressure with the DTs, which is her only real way of keeping even in this game, I'd say. Oh, no. We've got Banter coming down. Hit escape. Void go fast. Oh, my gosh. Goodness. Going for the throat, not just in the moves in the game, but verbally as well. Instability has been practicing her in-game banter recently. Clearly. And killing it, I guess one could say. If by killing it, we mean any chance of friendship between these two players. Blink is on the way. We're warping in more Stalkers. Sir Maligan's still got a power position on the opposite side of the map, but Instability does have shield batteries to help defend and Blink Stalkers to maneuver. Is able to shoot these shield batteries from the high ground, which is very nice. They're not getting canceled. Instability, I guess, opting for third base now, not making any more DTs, which is all right. I think maybe has enough to go for the bust, and she seems to think the same as well. She's moving down for it. Really should add on another couple gateways, though. Oh, if the Void Rays come up here away from the shield batteries, this could be really bad for Maligan. Will she blink on top? No, she will not. She wants to be able to use Blink to get away, I assume. Or do I presume? Who knows? Blink on top. Ooh, almost gets one. Barely does not get that Void Ray. Does manage to depower, but Instability smartly placing that pylon a little bit farther back. Doesn't quite manage to power both gateways, but I like the idea of making a less exposed pylon to power your gateways. Definitely should be adding on more production, though. You can see that her economy is starting to outproduce her actual production. And Maligan coming into the main base with his 4 Void Rays. Will she be able to blink on top? Does manage to. I think this is going to be 2 Void Rays gone. It is indeed 2 Void Rays snapped up there for 1 pylon, so a good trap there out of Instability. Sir Maligan really has to be very careful now that Blink is out. And a big economy lead for Instability. She's gotten this third base up for completely free. Unfortunately, she doesn't have anywhere near the production she could have. She could have about 8 gateways at this point and be producing consistently. But I think the stress and the pressure of the situation has caused her to stay on 3. I do forget she does have 1 across the map, so she will be up to 4, which is nice. Trying to go in, Maligan does have some cannons, but actually has kept his full wall in his base, which means he he's not able to send those probes down to mine. They've just been chilling there in the main base. Does run out on the overcharge on the Void Rays. Adding on a couple more gateways now is Instability, going up to 6. That's what we like to see. Still at 50 probes. A big army supply advantage for Sir Maligan, but the defensive advantage with that battery overcharge is so massive for Instability, and the economy is really going to start outrunning her opponent here. He is taking a third base now, but it's way, way later than that of Instability's, so we'll have to see if it manages to come to fruition or not. He does have a good army here. But the Blink is a nice advantage for Instability. Definitely wants, okay, making DTs at the front. I actually kind of like that. There's no detection anywhere close to the front, and she's kind of seen that. She's seen he has a ton of Stalkers, so she comes in with 4 DTs, 6 DTs, and she's going to be able to push him all the way back. and get rid of this forward outpost, which is a lot of money and a foothold loss for Sir Maligan. Brilliant move out of Instability, saying, you know what, you've kept your Oracle at home. I'm gonna make use of that. Ground army is no more, and very well done there. Gonna move to take a 4th base. Is Instability macroing up like a champ. Sir Maligan doing the same on the other side of the map, though. Still a pretty even scenario overall, I'd say. 3 Archons morphing in for Instability. Upgrades coming down for Sir Maligan. Would like to see some of those out of our other Protoss player at some point as well. Robo and Twilight coming out for Sir Maligan as well, so should be able to get his own Blink and some Immortals out. Immortals already on the way for Instability, who's got a pretty big supply lead at this point. That was a crushing victory. Thanks to those DTs. Without those DTs, if she'd warped in 6 Stalkers, she might have actually lost that fight. It was a very close fight in numbers, and she was not fighting with shield batteries. But being able to attack with those DTs, and there was no detection anywhere close, the Oracle all the way on the other side of the map, really turned that all the way to her favor, where it might have been, at best, an even trade. So looking solid is Instability. Sir Maligan, though, macroing up. I think he finally busted down the wall so his probes can get out of his main base, so that's good. Indeed, he has. That's what we like to see. Oracle going out to scout, does see the 4th base, and probably a worrying thing to see is Sir Maligan, all of this. I mean, that's a lot of stuff. But he does have the knowledge advantage over Instability. Instability does not have a whole lot of scouting going on right now. Doesn't know about the 3rd base as of yet for her opponent. Blink now on the way for Sir Maligan. Charge for Instability, who's making Immortals. She's going to have a very strong core army with those Archons and Immortals. And Charge Lot's going to be able to come in behind it. Also adding on a 2nd robotics facility. Goodness gracious. Double Forge as well. Saying, you know what? Upgrades, I think those are good, actually. I should probably try and catch up on those. Sir Maligan already got Shields level 1. Coming in with another Oracle and gets 7 kills in the main base. Going down to the Nat. Might be able to get even more. Does get up to 8 kills, does lose the Oracle, but very well worth it. Instability, though, has such a crushing economy lead at this point that still up 13 workers after losing 8. And she's now moving across the map with a 50 supply advantage. However, Sir Maligan is coming into her main base. Going to be able to warp in, however, with triple battery in the main base from defending against the Void Rays previously. Might not be able to accomplish all too much. Does run away. Instability kind of going in bits and pieces. Just a small chunk of her army going in first. Needs to group up and attack all at once. And the Archons are going to do a lot of tanking here, especially against those Void Rays, who are not overcharging just yet. Instability just utilizing that Blink micro a little bit. Has the charge lots, which are good at tanking against the Stalkers as well. Blinking on top and targets down the overcharged battery. Going in is Instability, and I believe winning this fight. Still double the army supply of that of Sir Maligan. The last Void Ray falls and continuing to reinforce. Doesn't have a Warp Prism with her, actually, so she has to run Zealots all the way from her 3rd base, but run they do. And GG is called. Game 1 will go to Instability.
Instability.
A well-played game overall. But Instability does manage to take it down. We'll have to see how Sir Maligan adjusts into this next game. If he has other strategies up his sleeve, I imagine he does. And it's going to be Blackburn, which is a weird map. And Sir Maligan obviously likes to play those stranger builds. He thrives off of the weirdness. Let's see. Getting our players into our game. And yeah, it's going to be Blackburn. An interesting map. I'll be curious to see. I mean, this would be a good map for Proxy Void Rays as well because of that little little nook there next to the base. But we are getting ready to go. And we are loading in, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys are enjoying it so far. Here we go. It's game number 2 of our final match of the day.
You are watching FSL Season 5.
If you are enjoying the broadcast, be sure to drop a follow. Live every Wednesday and Friday with the FSL Season 5. We're only 4 days into it out of probably like 40 or so, so you got a lot more content to catch. Just make sure to drop a follow if you are enjoying. But in the meantime, in the bottom left-hand side of the map, he's down 0-1. Can he tie it up? He is.
Sir Maligan.
And in the bottom right-hand side of the map, she's up 1-0. Feeling good, I'd imagine. She is.
Instability.
Maligan's got a pretty quick probe going across the map. Instability looking to do a low ground wall off here. Sir Maligan might be going Cannon Rush. Nope. I keep reading into things because I want to see Cannon Rushes is what's happening here, by the way. Just so you're aware. But it looks like it's going to be a gateway, at least initially. So, very sad. We can all go cry ourselves to sleep. Now, Stability is scouting across the map as well. It looks like it's going to be more of a typical double gate out of Sir Maligan. Maybe stealing the gas? Is stealing the gas. Instability tries to stop it, but just a moment too late. Oh, but wait, is she going to say, no you? Oh, she's not. Dang. Should have. Should have. Oh, well. Does manage to get the gas steal off, but Nexus going down. Cybernetics Core will be following up behind it. Sir Maligan, though, going down to the natural base. Scouting around for shenaniganry, I think. Oh, he's really concerned about shenaniganry. I don't think he actually scouted the Nexus in the Nat. We'll see if he winds up kind of mind gaming himself here. Still no Cybercore out for instability? Is it? Okay, there we go. Cybercore. I was going to say, I feel like that's a little bit late.
Base is under attack.
You know what? I'm going to go with extremely late. Sir Maligan's Cybercore was done before Instability started, which means he's going to have 2 Adepts across the map extremely quickly. Instability needs to full wall here, basically, or else she's just going to kind of die. Interesting.
Glory to the Daylong.
Perhaps getting a little thrown off by Sir Maligan's somewhat random-seeming workers. And kind of throwing herself off her own group. 2 Adepts are coming across the map. Void Rays for each team. Or, well, at least a Stargate. May or may not be Void Rays. Now, definitely a mistake out of Instability here, trying to break down this gas. Just take the gas in the natural, you know? You've got the capabilities. Not in position to wall off. This is just going to be game. The game's about to end, everyone. It was nice to have you on Blackburn LE. We were wondering what kind of interesting, cool tactics we'd see. It would turn out that the interesting, cool tactics would be just not making any units, not making a wall, and dying. A little unfortunate, but it happens to the best of us. Does try and wall off now. Does instability. As Sir Maligan is just going to, like, shield battery her main base, I think. A Stalker is coming out, so may be able to clean this stuff up. Should probably just pull the probes and get these guys out of here. Yeah, really should just pull their probes. This is kind of a... Oh, just attack you! The probes literally surrounded the Adepts and then just didn't do anything. So this is definitely kind of falling apart for instability here. However, she is on 2 base, so as long as she just doesn't die, she'll probably be fine. But I mean, now shield battery's going up in her main. Void Ray coming out for Sir Maligan, but 1 almost done for instability as well. So as long as she can break down the shield batteries, the pylons here, that'll be huge. 2 Stalkers and a Void Ray should beat 2 Adepts and a Void Ray, but oh my goodness. With the shield batteries, oh man, this is just a mess. Oh, now she's fighting here. Okay, does get back to the shield battery, making a second Void Ray. Does try to chase the Void Ray down. A bit of a mistake out of Sir Maligan, but still in a very solid position here. Instability just falling apart in game number 2. Probably feeling a little bit of that pressure, a little bit nervous. And macro definitely slipping as a result of that. So now Sir Maligan has positioned himself solidly between her main base and her natural, which is a massive power position, of course. Second Void Ray coming out, but a second Void Ray already almost across the map for Sir Maligan, who will be able to kill her her main base with the proxy that's in her main base. So a little unfortunate. Oh, gonna be able to chase down that Void Ray though. Gonna get the second Void Ray for Sir Maligan. That's the start of what Instability needs to come back here. Needs to just keep warping in Stalkers, warping in Void Rays. And once she has 3 Void Rays and a full overcharge up, I think she can bust through maybe. Sir Maligan, though, he'll probably be able to kill her main base before that happens. You can't afford to be losing this. Nexus is expanding to her 3rd base and just sacking her main, I guess. What a weird game. What a thoroughly weird game. 3 Void Rays are out. She needs to go now. There's only 1 Void Ray for Maligan. Don't let him kill the base. Oh, man. I mean, Maligan should lose all his Void Rays now. Why would you... Ooh, this is a messy game. This is a messy game, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Does manage to snap up another Void Ray, so now it's 3 Void Rays to 1. 4th on the way. I think Instability is okay here. Maligan's going to have an advantage, but if he doesn't... He really needs to just recall his army out of here. He's gotten done what he wanted to get done, and it's time to call it quits and cut your losses, because if he loses this army, that'll probably be the impetus to swing things back in the favor of Instability. But it feels like such a strong position here for Maligan. I'm sure that you don't really want to give it up, but giving it up is exactly what you need to do here. You've got a nice setup at home. I mean, I guess you can wait until the last possible minute and then recall so she can't just take her main for free, but what's actually going to happen is he's going to lose all his Void Rays, I think. Instability playing this incredibly conservatively, probably very scared of 4 batteries, but it's kind of crazy how much damage powered up Void Rays do against other Void Rays and Stalkers. If it's not an overcharged battery, the Void Rays and the Stalkers just melt. I mean, it's pretty insane. But 5 Void Rays out now. I think with this next overcharge, she'll probably feel confident enough to just charge through and clean this up. And as I'm saying, I mean, every second that Maligan doesn't recall from this point on and continue spending resources to try and hold this point, she's already got a 3rd base up, except it's a 2nd base. She's catching up in probes. If he loses this army, he's going to be so far down in the army value and the army supply that I'm not sure he'll be able to hold. And uses his overcharge. After that's gone, I think you got to go as Instability. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to say. Especially as the player, it's really hard to know. Stability playing it really conservatively here. Doesn't want to lose too much, trying to break out of this. More Void Rays coming across from Maligan now, and the worker count's mostly tied up. Now, the one big thing to keep in mind is Maligan does have more workers, but his main base is going to start mining out. And Instability is going to have a lot more longevity in these 2 bases because it's technically not actually her main base. So the initial mining didn't affect. So that'll actually wind up helping in the longer run if Maligan does not take a 3rd base very soon. In fact, I think his mineral patches in his main base are already starting to mine out. It's hard to tell, though, because we're focused here. The overcharge comes down, overcharge the battery as well, and I think she's going to be able to bust down these Stalkers and Void Rays. Maybe not. She actually targeted the Stalkers, which is a big mistake on Instability's part. You really need to target the Void Rays, as they're the real damage dealers. But she was targeting Stalkers. Not the best target fire there, and that means Maligan actually has an army supply advantage now that he did not have 2 minutes ago. Still a Void Ray lead, though, of 5-3, with more on the way for Instability, and the battery overcharge should mean that she's still okay. Probably won't die, but things are looking worse and worse here. It's definitely a very strange scenario. It's hard to really know what to do as the players here, as I doubt either of them has really been in this exact scenario in their lives. Except maybe Maligan. Maybe Maligan's been here, because he did, you know, it wasn't like he wound up doing this. He very purposefully pylon shield batteried in between her main base and her natural. So it's possible he's more experienced with this than I'm leading you all to believe. I can't really say. I'll have to ask him in the post-game interview, but assuming Seth doesn't ask him first, we'll see. But Instability getting on top of one of the Void Rays. She's at the point, or at the Void Ray count at this point, where she doesn't even need to overcharge to overpower battery healing, which is pretty scary for Malignant. And pushing down this ramp is very hard as Malignant. It's a lot easier to push up for Instability than it is to push down for Malignant, because Malignant has mostly a ground army. So they kind of stack up against each other on that ramp, and they have a hard time getting damage in, whereas Instability's Void Rays can clump up pretty much perfectly. Now, Instability not doing anything against these Zealots, even just sending one Void Ray would deal with those, but I think a little scared too, because she's not sure if she has a good enough army here to defend it if she does. Again, just a very wacky scenario overall. Malignant taking the gold base, I like that move, and that's the kind of things that are going to cause him to win this game. If Instability isn't able to break him here, but I think, ooh, yeah, with that overcharge, I think that might be all she wrote for Sir Malignant's army here, at least. And with that, that should put Instability in a pretty strong position. She is going to run out of overcharge in her Void Rays, and she's only going to have one base, although she's now proxying a base in the top of the map. Doesn't have overcharge, but neither does Malignant. Does kill her expansion. A messy game. A very messy game we're looking at here. Everybody's still fairly even overall, but that gold base, if it gets up, that's going to be dangerous. If you're Instability, at least. If you're Malignant, it's going to be very safe. It's going to be very nice. Does lose another Void Ray, does Instability. Malignant trying to build a second Stargate on the other side of the map now. If he manages to get that up and get Void Ray production out of it, he might be able to catch up in the Void Rays, which is a big deal here, as he's now got a pretty significant income advantage once that gold base starts getting saturated. Man, oh man. What a game. What a game. Probes are running across the map. Zealots are going to chase them, though. Malignant very on top of that, which means this base is going to get scouted. Although technically probes do outrun slow Zealots, so they might just forget about them and go home. Nope. He's going to go ring around the rosy, I guess. Fair enough. Still looking to try and break, not out of her natural, but into her main, which is not something I was expecting to say at the start of this game. But Malignant's starting to pull away here. I think just a little bit more experienced in these sloppy, messy, weird scenarios than Instability is. Up on 3 bases now, one of which is a gold base. And double Stargate production. Instability does have double Stargate production as well, so it's 8 Void Rays to 4. In Instability's favor. She's slowly picking away at Malignant. Shield batteries do manage to heal up. Overcharges her Void Rays and instantly cancels it, though, which means she can't really take a fight in the near future. That overcharge is a big part of any fight here. A lot of cannons to protect her new natural base. I guess it's a natural base now. A lot of cannons there to defend that against the Zealots this time around. Malignant looking to chase, not quite able to do so just yet. It's 10 Void Rays to 6. A couple Stalkers getting caught. One does get killed. A Void Ray gets caught as well. Good pickoffs for Instability here. She's got so many shield batteries in her natural base. Such a crazy scenario we found ourselves in here. Malignant, though, does have 18 Stalkers. He's really getting a big army of Stalkers up. He needs Blink. If he got Blink here, he could just Blink down onto the low ground underneath the Void Rays, and I think win the game, or at least come very close. At least trade pretty efficiently, I'd say. Getting down that ramp, though, is his problem here. Malignant uses up his Void Ray overcharge. Might be an opportunity to go in for Instability here. Obviously, she still has that massive advantage of the battery overcharge defensively, which means she can then use her Void Ray overcharge offensively, but might opt to just slowly pick away as she has been doing. And indeed, it looks like she will do that. Blink now on the way, as if Sir Malignant could read my mind. He's up 20, almost 30 supply. Getting extra gateways. Instability looking to re-expand to her natural third, I guess I'll call it. Malignant getting a little suspicious, I think. Moving his Zealots out to catch that third. Or I guess he can just see because he has an observer right outside her natural. So he knows that that's coming. So probably positioning the Zealots to go deal with that. Still though, that other base is up for Instability, who is mining out of her main, question mark. Technically, if she breaks into her main, that's like a mostly fresh base available there, so that would be pretty nice. But anyways, it's 14 Void Rays to 6. If she clumps up and overcharges and goes, I think she can do it. Although that is a lot of Stalkers. It's so hard to tell. There's not a lot of shield batteries available for Maligan, though. He's not been rebuilding them. Did he lose his probe in the base here? I think he did. That's big. He can't make any more buildings in the main base now. He lost his probe at some point up there. Unless he made a warp prism and brought one in, I guess. He could start making more, but I don't think we're going to see that. Can't say for sure, but I don't think so. It's hard to say. Yeah, we've got Maligan coming in on the top base. Sorry, I was mostly just watching there, kind of zoned out. Void Ray's going to try and break in, but then pull back. Oh, hey, speaking of a warp prism, are we going to have a probe in that? Oh, man, completely shutting the mining down is Sir Maligan. He's definitely doing a better job of taking care of both fronts than Instability's been able to this game. He's thriving in the weirdness, I would say. Army supplies are pretty close to even. He has a major worker advantage. Oh, man, and Instability just can't break this. Oh, and now Maligan just putting Stalkers everywhere. Although Instability will be able to clean these Stalkers up. They also use their blink. Oh, never mind. They blinked away again, and Instability pulled back. Oh, he's going in. He's trying to go for the bust, but this is a mistake on Maligan's part, I think. The overcharged Void Rays are going to annihilate this army for Maligan. And, yeah, a big army supply advantage now available for Instability. He's out of Void Rays, and she's got so many of them. Holy cow. Doesn't have any economy, but doesn't need it, I guess. It's 18 Void Rays to 19 Stalkers now. She's just going to counterattack. She says, I am tired of you running me around. I'm just going to go. And she's going, I guess. She's got a little bit of a bank so she can continue Void Ray and Immortal production for the next little bit. Cannon's doing a decent job there, but yeah, she's just going to go for the throat, depower the buildings, I guess. But Maligan's got so many different bases of economy all over the map now. I'm just not sure this is going to be enough for Instability. I think he might be able to get out enough units to be able to take down those Void Rays. Should have been rallying to home, I think, should Instability, but it's hard to say. Oh, gonna recall. Okay. Good recall here out of Instability. Perhaps going to see a recall out of Mal. No, I'm sorry. Maligan already used his recall, so he can't recall here. Can blink away. Does turn and snap up these Void Rays, so that's good out of him. Does lose a couple of Stalkers, though, but Instability can just chase these Stalkers all the way home, and then I'm not sure they can win the fight at home. Can the Stalkers. Oh, the slow zones as well. Cause her to lose a couple of extra, or him to lose a couple of extra Stalkers. It is currently 18 Void Rays to 18 Stalkers. The Void Rays do win that fight, even with the +1 shields that Sir Maligan's managed to accumulate. No recall up, though, this time. However, Instability, if she just rallies to her base with her production, I think the 2 Void Rays at a time and the Immortal will be enough to defend against this number, especially with that many shield batteries out. But Instability just doesn't know about the gold base. She doesn't know about the top right base. And Maligan's going into the natural of Instability. The battery overcharge, they wouldn't be able to out-DPS the battery, I don't think, but none comes down. No Immortal out yet either. Not even one being produced. I think Instability is trying to recall, but she doesn't have one available. Just base trading, I guess. I don't think she can win the base trade. But she's going to try. Maybe just base trade until you have recall, but he might be able to kill the Nexus before then. It's going to be about 30 seconds, I think, until she has recall available. Able to depower all the buildings is Sir Maligan, and I think he might be able to win out this crazy, crazy game we've had here. Instability is trying to base race and doesn't realize that there's twice the number of bases for Maligan, or, well, really 4 times. She only had the 1, I guess, at this point. 4 times the bases for Maligan that there were for Instability. Is able to kill the Cyber Core, so no more Stalkers coming out, but I think 28 Blink Stalkers can beat 18 Void Rays, and those cannons might be able to defend. I guess if she can kill those stalkers that have just been chilling behind the cannons, that'll help to even out the numbers a good bit. Gonna remake a base in the top left, but that's all the money she has, really. If she can defend that, though, that might work out. Still blissfully unaware. Oh, nope, she does know the base in the top right now. So Instability has a decent grasp on what the game looks like here. Is able to clean up all the left side of the map. Basically, these cannons coming in absolute clutch, killing some of the probes of Malignant as they go past. Is Instability aware? Instability does see these stalkers of Malignant in the top middle of the map and just doesn't feel like doing anything about them, I guess. Just going for the throat. While and Malignant's army is not here. She's going to be able to depower the shield batteries, I think. But after that Void Ray Overcharge runs out, she really needs to get out of here. The Stalkers are going to warp on top, I think. Without Overcharge, I don't think she can win this fight. She's going to try and run. Doesn't have Flux Veins. Not good enough target fire to kill too many Void Rays yet out of Malignant. She's trying to abuse the airspace and catch some of the Stalkers out. I think she should have just gone back to the cannons, but trying to keep him busy. Splitting the army up into pieces. She should be able to kill those Stalkers. You can kill those Stalkers. Okay, she's got it. She's doing it. She's fighting. She still doesn't have Overcharge up for about another 5 seconds, but once it's up, if she activates it, all these Stalkers are going to die, I think. And indeed, she activates it. Malignant does have to run, but that means she'll be able to kill these shield batteries. What a crazy game, dude. I'm having heart palpitations right now. This has been so wildly back and forth. I don't know where anything's going at this point. I think it's now 13 Void Rays to 12 Stalkers. I think the Void Rays should be able to do that, especially with no shield batteries out, and 5 of the Stalkers are just chilling in the top middle of the map still. I think she's waiting for Overcharge, and then she's going to try and close it out, and I think she may be able to do it. Holy moly. I'm just speechless, honestly. Does have Overcharge up. Stalkers blink back. She's going in. She's got the Stalkers pretty much cornered, and she activates Overcharge, and I think that's going to be all she wrote. Holy cow, what a game. Looks like maybe I'm speaking too soon, but I'm speaking in anyways. I think Instability will be able to clutch out game number 2 as GG is called. Holy moly. Holy cow.
That was a good game.
I think you said it right, ET. Holy moly. I was back and forth the whole time. I thought Instability was dead, and then I thought, oh, she's got this, and then no, she's dead. No, she's got this, and then she loses her natural, and then she had no Nexus, and then she lost. And then at the end of the day, the Void Race won out. What a game. But first, let's start with Sir Malignant here. Sir Malignant, what were you going through? What's going through your head in that second game? At what point did you think that you were in the lead?
When she lost her third, actually, it's like, okay. Then I spotted her fourth, her hidden base. Okay, got this. But then again, I lost all my troops because I forced it on her main, and then she just went straight for my main base, I guess. That was a good move by Instability there.
Yeah, I think the biggest turning point in the game is when you brought those Zealots and Stalkers down to kill his third, and then she reacted, and you jumped on her second. But that was the biggest mistake, because she came right back, overcharged, and wiped out your entire force.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, because I was hoping that there's only a few pylons powering the what you call this, the shield batteries, but then I didn't realize there's a lot more, so I couldn't kill all the pylons right away.
Yeah, this has got to be a place in one of our all-time interesting and favorite games.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It's cannons. There's a trench of cannons against each other, but they were on the wrong side. Because your cannons were in her main base and her cannons were outside of that, and so that's what made it so weird. But Instability, what was going through your head in that last game? Because that was really crazy.
I mean, I thought I was winning, and then after he killed my third, I thought I was completely dead. Like, a couple times I thought about quitting just to not drag things out, so I'm kind of glad I didn't do that. But, yeah, I just felt like I was losing.
Yeah, there was, yeah, like what we said, there was so up and down. We thought you lost already, and we thought you won. And you know, if you watch the VOD, ET's broadcast, and it's like, this is over. Oh no, no, wait, this is over for the other side. But ET, you have any questions here for both our players?
Yeah, man, what a game! Like I said during the broadcast, I think I was having heart palpitations. It was just going back and forth so much, I couldn't tell what was going on there towards the end. But I did wonder, Sir Maligan, it seemed almost like that was the plan from the start, to shield battery the main base, or in between the main base and the NAT. Did you just do that because Yashanshi was going for the low ground wall off, or was that
yeah,
the
on the second game?
Right, yes.
Yeah. When I saw her put some structures on the low ground, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do that. So I went for Adept just to harass her, and then I was hoping my probe won't die, which survived. So yeah.
Wow, well, a crazy game. I mean, holy moly. Yeah, it was back and forth and all over the place. That was probably the most insane game I've ever seen in the FSL. So very well done. Brought the chaos. Didn't quite manage to bring it out, but very good games. I look forward to seeing the rest of your stuff. That was some awesome tactics. So I look forward to the rest of your games throughout the season.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we forget that game started out with the two adepts just waltzing into the main base with no units to stop them. And at that point, ET declared, this is going to end in about 20 seconds. This is over. And I thought so too, but for some reason it dragged on. But you know, you said this is one of the crazier games. I mean, I still remember last year, there was another game by Instability where she was getting rushed by Bioforce. And she was almost dead until one Colossus popped out and wiped out the Marines, and that saved the game. And so that was one of the crazier games. So for some reason, Instability, you're bringing out the crazy games here in FSL. So, ET, do you have any questions here for Instability before we wrap up tonight?
Man, you know, I had like a question to ask each of y'all about the first game, but I can't remember anything about the first game after that second one. It's all just a distant memory. That really just took everything. Great job. Yeah, no questions, unfortunately. I think you covered everything pretty well in the second game. Well played to both of y'all. That was insane. That was awesome.
Yeah, well played. Instability, you handled that really well. I was like, oh, okay, I got this. And then, oh, son of a... She was like, oh my gosh, this Void Racer on my base. I don't have recall. I was like, oh, just great. So, yeah,
so
that was
looking
really
forward
good.
here, Sir Maligan will be facing Mizel next Friday. While Instability will be facing against Hurt in Time. So I'm looking forward to your games. Keep practicing, and it's all about trying to get better in FSL here. So,
all right,
good games.
Good games.
Well played.
Well played.
Well played. All right, so that wraps up tonight's game. Let's bring KJ Freedom back here, and we can talk about next week, and we can wrap up the night. So so to recap really quickly, we had the Blind leading the Death, their debut tonight, and they got one victory. It was a pretty impressive victory, but unfortunately they fell 2-1 to Little Dom. And then Criminal just did a basic Wings of Liberty build against Deepu and won 2-0 with just a massive bio build. And as you guys saw, that was one crazy series between Sir Maligan and Instability. I was hoping to have a game 3 there to see more craziness, but I think those two were enough for tonight. KJ Freedom, do you have anything else to say before we end tonight? I think he is not able. His audio is dead, so I think we're just gonna wrap it up here. We'll see you guys next Wednesday, same time, 7 p.m. I want to thank ET here. Of course, excellent job casting these games. Sounds so much better listening to the VODs with him casting them than me. So I want to thank you again, ET.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I look forward to the next time.
Yep, and yeah, so we'll see you guys next Wednesday, 7 p.m. GG's.
Sarah, what have you done?
Kerrigan, the die you cast. This is the last day. Your swarm darkens the sky of any planet.
Forget Minsk. Forget all of it.
When we are done here, I will return to my people and accept their judgment.
Command, we've found Kerrigan. She's holed up in a Zerg base.
I made my peace long ago.
Consider it done. For ire.